Yo, it's your boy Russ, promoting my side hustle. If you're in the state of New Jersey and you need armed security, I could provide that for you. I could also supply you with unarmed guards as well. My phone number is 973-558-4659. That's 973-558-4659. And if you're like a small business owner and you need armed guards, I could set that up for you. Or if you're a guy that's in charge of a large franchise, I could supply that as well for you. So just give me a call or hit up my Instagram or email, all of the above. Know what I mean? Um I guess that's it about promoting my side hustle, and we about to get in with this DC universe here. Um, I got my boy Mr. Best in the building. Yo, Mr. Best, man, talk to me.
What's going on? What's going on, family? Thank you for having me on, man. Thank you for having me on.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Yo, man, teamwork makes the dream work. You heard? Yo, let
Yes,
let them
sir.
know about the Black Files and the unsolved history. Yeah, I mean, what you got popping off?
Man, the two main channels are Knowledge and Relationships and Intellectual Soapbox. Check out both my channels, okay? That's Knowledge and Relationships and Intellectual Soapbox. We have a ton of programming on each. We have the Black Files. We have the book club coming up. We have the E and Lady Cookie show. We have Black is Gold. Um, man, we have so many different shows. We have a bunch of shows on knowledge and relationships as well. Chronicles of Lola, Easily Rigged, and then we have our Monday and Thursday regular flagship shows. I mean, featuring the great M3 and myself and all our family members, including Rush. I mean, check us out Monday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Knowledge and Relationships. Also, shout out to also OG Patrice, Trade Up No Chase to Talk with OG Patrice on every other Sunday. We got our sports channel coming up every other Sunday on Intellectual Soapbox and at Hink in the Basement. So there's so many things we got to work on, man. Certain things we're working on right now. Salute to the family, man. Salute to you, Rush, and salute to the Labuto Network. You know what I mean, as well. For real, for real.
Word up, word up. Now, yo, last week we was in the Marvel universe. Now we gonna be in the DC universe, man. And the main character I wanna expound on is President Superman. Know what I mean? Now, this I'm gonna give you his origin story first, and then I'm gonna break down the Dark Crisis. Know what I mean? First of all, yo, yeah, I mean, this Superman, he's from Earth 23, right? Same thing as the other Superman. Um, he's from the planet Krypton. He's a black man. And his original name is Kal-El, and his second alias is Calvin Ellis. You know what I mean? Calvin Calvin Ellis is a full Kryptonian. You know what I mean? He possesses the same abilities as, Superman. He, flight, superhuman strength, heat vision, cold breath, super speed, invulnerability. And Calvin is also immensely strong when it comes to with his physical fighting ability. Know what I mean? And he could endure a lot of pain too. You know what I mean? Now Calvin is an incredible leader. He has incredible leadership skills too as well. Obviously he's in Earth 23. He's not, I don't think he's the founder of the Justice League in that realm, but there is a yo, salute to you, sophisticated jerk, man. Thanks for coming through. You're Yo, Wiley, I see you in the building, man. Salute to you too. You're the family in the building. Know what I mean?
Salute to Wally and the Sophisticated Jerk. Salute, brothers.
Word out, word out. Now, there. Okay, he has his own. It's not the Justice League, but he got his own clique, and this clique, you know what I mean? They kind of supervise all what's going on with all the multiverses. For some reason, everybody come holla at President Superman for certain things when the other multiverses is going through some trouble. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, his second alias as a human, as Kal-El, not Kal-El, but as Calvis Ellis, like he's the president of the United States. Um, and he has a unique fighting style. Now Calvin as a youngin, by his earthly parents, his father would train him, you know what I mean, as a boxer. You know what I mean? Like he would show him how to, show him the ropes on how to throw hands and all that. You know what I mean? Now, um, now if you know anything about this character, like his it's inspired by Barack Obama and Muhammad Ali. Like they kind of like merged those two character traits, and they came up with this character, President Superman. Now, similar to the kind of similar to the classic Superman, but yo, it got a little twist to it. You know what I mean? He's black, and yo, son could throw some hands, like for real, for real. Now, obviously, he was born in Krypton. His mom is Laura. His pops is Jarrell, and because of their native planet was dying, they decided to ship him off to Earth. You know what I mean? And live on with the Kryptonian race as a full Kryptonian. Now they knew that his body will absorb the I guess the sun ray as a like a powered battery. You know what I mean? And which would enhance his super speed and strength and all that. Like they knew they was acknowledged. They knew that would happen if they sent him off to Earth or whatever. So they wasn't worried about him not having the ability to survive on his own. Um, the Ellis family, took him in, raised him. Not only that they raised him, but they instilled core principles in this character, especially like having a healthy ambition, trying to trying to accomplish certain things in life, like becoming the president of the United States, right? So, okay, once his abilities was fully developed in Earth 23, Calvin became the Superman in Earth 23. Now, by him becoming the Superman, whatever, he defends the oppressed and he keeps peace all around the planet. Now, Calvin was also um ambitious, like I said before, and he's the president of the United States. Now, I gave you a breakdown of his like origin story, so I'm gonna get into the Dark Crisis or whatever, right? I'm gonna expound on that, right? Now, Dark Crisis, you know what I mean, is basically explaining that the multiverse is dying, right? Now, this character that named the Anti-Monitor, he's behind that. Like he's the one that's causing the multiverse to die off. You know what I mean? And in Earth 23, they got Alan Scott as the Green Lantern, and they got Hot Girl that rolls with Calvin. Like that's like his main go-to team. But they got more heads, but I'm just giving you you know what I mean, this short end of it. So you know what I mean, because I'd be like, if I were to explain like his whole camp, you know what I mean? Like I'll be like talking about it for a minute, you know what I mean? Now for all you comic book heads out there, right? Y'all know who Alan Scott is, you know what I mean? He is the first Green Lantern, you know what I mean? Now Alan Scott, aka the Green Lantern, he's politicking with Obsidian, right? And Obsidian, you know what I mean? He rolls with the J the JSA, which is an acronym for Justice Society Association. Now, they link up, right, in this comic. Obsidian is, he's retired or whatever. You know what I mean? Yo, he's somewhere probably in South Beach smashing a dope Brazilian chick. Nah, I'm going too far with it, but nah. But he's retired or
Uh,
whatever. But the JSA headquarters is in Gotham City, right? So Obsidians, he arrives at that spot, you know what I mean? Explosion pops off, right? At the Jed said headquarters or whatever, right? Now, Obsidian's sister, she was stuck inside. Fast forward, Shorty got bodied. You know what I mean? Now, she got bodied. I mean, obviously, dude, I mean, he's feeling kind of crazy, whatever. So he I guess links up with this female detective, right? They politicking or whatever. Now this female roll with this nigga named Director Bones, right? Director Bones phenotype is basically like a skeletal type joint. I mean, like his skin is translucent, and like yo, he like his whole body is just poison. I mean, so anybody that touches the nigga, you know what I mean, gonna get body. You know what I mean, now she's basically asking Director Bones, you know what I mean, for help or whatever, because back in the day, Director Bones used to work for the DEO. You know what I mean, now the DEO is like a government op that oversee over metahumans that that got like god type like abilities or whatever. They got to keep them. Keep them in in certain certain levels so that them niggas don't start wigging out and just destroying shit and embodying people or whatever. So Director Bones used to roll with the DEO, but the person that recruited him was Amanda Waller. Now this chick, right? She's the one that actually put him onto the DEO, and like, yo, she's one of the main characters that put together the whole Suicide Squad. Now I mean, now obviously, this. The comics expounding on this for a reason, right? So now, like, okay, like all this is taking place in we still in Earth 23 or whatever, right? Now, remember how I was breaking down the Flash and Batman as Thomas Wayne at the Flashpoint or whatever. Yo, Thomas Wayne ends up um going to Earth 23. Now I mean for some reason, whatever, right? Now yo, Thomas Wayne is politicking with Calvin Ellis, right? Like they trying to aka President Superman or whatever, right? He's basically telling him that he needs to get in contact with Barry Allen from Earth Zero. And as he's telling Calvin this, right? Thomas Wayne has a um as he's explaining this to Calvin, as he's giving him the breakdown of what's going on with him, the comic expounds on it reiterates that um uh Thomas has a great relationship with Barry Allen from Earth Zero. The reason why they have a great relationship. Remember how I was giving you the breakdown? But yo, I didn't let y'all know that when towards the end of the story of the Flashpoint, right? When the world was about to end or whatever, and they say like Professor Zoom was defeated by Thomas Wayne and Barry Allen or whatever. Yo, Thomas Wayne wrote a letter, right? He wrote a letter. He gave it to Barry Allen, right? So when Barry Allen returned back to his Earth or whatever, right? That he would he would give that letter to Bruce Wayne, and he did. So ever since then, like yo, they've been like yo, like tight like vice grips. You know what I mean, they had a real good relationship together. You know what I mean? Um, pause. But uh now, okay. Now, when that happened, right, yo, they decided to. Okay, he decided to ask Calvin to tell Flash, I guess to come through or whatever, because I guess Calvin had the ability to I guess reach out to people from different Earths from the multiverse or whatever. Now, this particular Earth in the multiverse name its name is the Earth Omega, right? Now the Flash, right? Now the okay now like this portion of this comic is giving a breakdown with the Flash now the Flash is in Earth Omega, right? Now for some reason the Flash can't just run in there for some reason, you know what I mean? So he had to, like, I guess, phase through to get into Earth Omega or whatever, right? Because I guess their frequency is a lot different from Earth Zero. Fast forward, right? Barry Barry Allen, aka the Flash, he comes in, right? And he realizes like the members of the Quest Testins okay, the Questestans are like powerful beings, but when he arrived at Earth Omega, yo, they was bodied. Somebody bodied them or whatever, right? And as this happens, right? He finds out like these powerful beings is dead. Now he's trying to figure out like who bodied these niggas. Like, yo, whoever bodied the Questistans must be like a powerful being or whatever, right? Fast forward, right? The Flash was ready, you know what I mean, to go back to Earth 23. I guess the politic with Calvin Ellis to let him know what was going on in Earth Omega or whatever, right? You know what I mean? So yo, they politicking, he let him know what happens, and they all figure out this dude named Psycho Pirate was in the mix. You know what I mean? And he had the little squabble with them niggas. You know what I mean? But I don't think it was Psycho Pirate that bodied him though. But for some reason, like he's in a mixed politicking with everybody right now, right? Now I'm gonna explain to you what psycho pirate abilities is, man. He has the ability to manipulate any living sentient being emotions on the spot. You know what I mean? Now, Psycho Pirate was informed by the Flash that there's a new crisis coming through. Now, as he's informing him, as he's giving him this information, like yo, they trying to figure out, what's going on, but obviously they're gonna figure out anti monitor. He's ready to, you know what I mean, be on some Thanos shit and just body everybody. But fast forward, the comic expounds on how the multiverse was destroyed and how the situation shows in Earth Zero. Now this dude named Roy Harper, right? He gets knocked out in Earth Zero, and he becomes the an actual Black Lantern. Now after that comic displays that, there's another different location, right? It's in the halls. It's in the Hall of Justice, right? Now this chick named Cameron, she she works with Director Bones and all that. You know what I mean? Now the Justice Hall, like their thing is like, yo, they monitor superheroes affairs or whatever, like, niggas like Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, like they keep them niggas in check and see what's going on. You know what I mean, on the government's portion of things. You know what I mean? Now, okay, as they recruit, as they start recruiting like different like people with meta abilities, right? Like they the first one of the I want to say the first dude, but they recruited this dude named Captain Adam. Captain Adam's abilities is to manipulate quantum energy. Now the comic shows that Thomas Wayne is politicking with Superman from Earth 23, like it's showing it in the comic or whatever, right? Now he's breaking down on how he end up like going through different multiverses because of Professor Zoom. Now for some reason in this portion of the comic explains that how Professor Zoom actually saved Thomas Wayne's life or whatever. But we all know when you watch the Flashpoint and read the comics about the Flashpoint, yo, Thomas Wayne is the one that bodied Professor Zoom. You know what I mean? But it's funny that how they switch it up in this comic right here. But whatever. Bruce Wayne, okay, is from a different Earth. So he ended up, meeting his son. You know what I mean? Now as he's politicking with Bruce Wayne or whatever, right? And this different Earth or whatever, right? He's like basically saying like, yo, listen, you ain't gotta fight crime no more. I'm gonna take the I'm gonna be the person that's gonna be fully responsible and responsible for carrying the mantle of the Batman. I think his son was cool with it, so he end up, kind of like, let his pops handle his things and start, living a normal life with his chick, Catwoman, and they went off and did their own thing or whatever, right? Fast forward, right? This a different portion of the comic, right? It shows a AI's head, like a image of a female's big a female huge head, right? And I forgot the name of the joint. What's her name? Anyway, they're conversing with this AI, right? And the comic shows President Superman politicking with this AI, whatever, right? Fast forward, they both end up fighting some. Yeah, they end up fighting this dude named Magon, right? Now Magon, yo, he's putting in that work, like yo. President Superman had a hard time whooping his ass. You know what I mean, even though he had like Thomas Wayne with him or whatever. So they trying to jump this nigga, and it wasn't. You know what I mean, it wasn't really. They wasn't really able to give him the beats like that. Anyway, from the comic series, right? Like this dude Magon, he's from this character is based from the Kingdom Come. Now I don't know if you're a real comic book head, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Kingdom Come, right? Now Kingdom Come is based in Earth 22, and like what makes this comic so ill that all right, the Joker, like in Kingdom Come, the Joker was bodying mad heads, right? You know how superhero niggas is. They want to be righteous. They don't want to kill nobody. They feel like even villains should have the right to live or whatever. Not Magon. Magon came through, straight up bodied this nigga, right? As he bodies the Joker, like everybody, I mean, was like happy about that, and they was like, yo, listen, man, we want Magon to handle things, right? So basically, that Superman within that Earth had to step down and let Magon do his thing. Now, after that happened, it caused a ripple effect to have other metahumans that's like bounty hunters to put in that work like that. So they was just like just going rogue and doing their own thing and just what I mean? Like if they caught a villain, like it wasn't none of that, yo, I'm just gonna put you in prison and all that. Nah, they're just gonna body the nigga. What I mean? Now talk to me, guys, man. That's the first title about the dog crisis, what I mean? Second title the second premise of this conversation is like, yo, uh, um our male leaderships a dying breed. You know what I mean? If you want to expound on the comic first, and then we can hop on that second subject matter, man. Talk to me, man. Wally was good, man. Mr. Best was
Wally, what's
good.
going
You heard?
on? What's going on, Wally?
That was good.
I'll expand first. I'll say it's interesting how both DC and Marvel have their different multiverses. And I kind of like how things are blended together and how, you could just see how the characters change or variation. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool to see that. And if you ever follow DC or Marvel, you ever played any of the video games, or you read any of the comic books, man, you really see that it's very, very detailed. Like all these stories are super detailed. You know what I'm saying? And as Rush was explaining, that's only one part of the story. There's so many different levels to it. There's so many different levels to each character, and there's
Yeah,
so many
that's a
different
fact.
aspects to each character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the deeper you delve into it, you'll kind of see, what the differences are and things of that nature. Um, when it comes to DC, I'm a huge Superman fan and a huge Batman fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for that Flash movie to come out. You know what I mean? That Flash movie gonna be
Yo, let's
crazy.
expound on that,
You know
yo.
what I'm
Like,
saying? Oh
yo,
man, and this is
what's
and
your
this is
thought? Like, yo, me
and this is
watching
gonna
the
be part of
trailer.
it. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Flash movie is gonna kind of delve into this. What you're talking about, bro?
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I kind of figured. Yeah,
You know what I mean? With the two Batmans and all that, like you about to really start seeing where it's about to go. And you know what? And I understand DC is being smart because they understand they got to compete with Marvel because Marvel's doing their multiverse. So DC like, well, we gonna do our multiverse too. Brilliant idea. Brilliant
word,
idea
word.
that they're doing that. You know what I mean? It's about competition. Seem like they're trying to compete, and I think if DC really get their act together, because let me tell you something, one of the best movies I've seen from DC in the last few years was the Justice League. It wasn't a regular version. It was the Snyder version. You know what I mean? That movie was phenomenal. The Justice League Snyder version. If
Right.
you've never seen that one, go watch the Snyder cut. All right, not the regular cut. the Justice League movie, the Snyder Cut. That joint is a boss, man. All right, phenomenal. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that they're doing that, man. But yeah, that Flash movie, bro. You're gonna get the different flashes. You're gonna see all the different, multi versions of the different heroes. And salute to everybody in the chat, man. Stan Joseph, Rich Bleezy, know what I mean? Leander Nicholson, know what I mean? Daryl Long, Sophisticated Jerk. Everybody that's up in here, man. Sweet Lady 095. We see y'all. Much love to y'all. For real, for real. Thank you for coming to support. But yeah, man, I'm gonna let Wally build on that. And I'm gonna let you build on that too when we get to the next topic. But yeah, man.
Hey man, what it is? As far as for what you're talking about, as far as DC and the Flash movie, so okay, I'm gonna throw this out there, right? When I first saw it, I was very intrigued. Yet, a lot of things were so much of a mixed match within the whole thing. But of course, the idea is it's basically cracking down multiple different universes, right? So you're not gonna get what you would ultimately expect in there, right? I had to literally watch neither a video or neither it was a short one or the other that had to explain to me which version of Supergirl we're getting. Which, surprisingly enough, this is from a different universe Supergirl that we're getting within this versus the usual blonde hair. So that one had to clarify for me, like, okay, at least I understand where we're at with this. Two, I mean, it was sort of fidgety because of the simple fact that also they didn't have Superman in this because you're bringing it back from the movie where you do Man of Steel because you're bringing back General Zod into this mood, and so there's a lot of cracks, but nonetheless, you take it for you take it for. As long as it's good and plays out right, I mean, hey, I ain't mad. But but as far as them doing their multiverse, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's more of a they have to more than it's a smart move. It's more they have to, and the reason why I say that is because when you think about it, right? When you think about everything that DC has put out as far as movie content wise, and then you do the ripple effect of it all with Flash. I mean, it just makes a smart, common, sensible move to do that. But at the same notion, it's basically showing you the overall cleanup of the whole DC universe. So that's just my take on it. As far as them,
Hmm.
I mean, as far as them, doing that to compete with Marvel, I mean, it only works if they truly clean it up. But other than that, well, time will tell. But that's my take right there for right now on the Flash.
I think this film is gonna save DC, like, because DC, when it comes to film, they haven't put anything out that's that can really compete against Marvel. Now, I mean, I think this Flash film is gonna it's gonna make Marvel step their game up, man. Now, as far as that Supergirl, I'm gonna tell you why they got this. I think it's a great idea that they got the Supergirl and General Zod. One, General Zod, he's in the mix because it's the multiverse. This is not like things is not going to be the same as like the original storylines. Everything going to have to switch up because they're in a different Earth. You know what I mean? Two, right? Remember? Okay, I expounded on this with the Flashpoint. Now the Flashpoint, right? Their Superman was locked up by the government, and I think they're going to do the same thing with Shorty with the film. I think this is gonna be dope. I think she's gonna be locked up with the government, right? Somebody's gonna find her. They're gonna figure out she's a full Kryptonian, and they're gonna let her off free and use her to fight whatever villain they got popping off within the mix of that film. I think this shit gonna be fire. Know what I mean?
I mean, on one point,
It's
I
gonna be
give it to
official,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I give it to you on that. But here's my thing with that, right? The thing is with DC that they're playing themselves with is that means that you're gonna do a multi, like you're gonna literally do a multi-stream of where you're doing multiple universes in a span versus focusing on one universe. That's where they're gonna like. This is where they're gonna like. If they don't properly do this, this is where they're gonna f up at. And that's just my thing. They gotta catch themselves. But also, to Nicholson in the chat talking about DC's whack. I'm sorry, but compare the main characters to Marvel's characters. Nah, bro, not a chance.
And this is where I step into play. What's
Yo,
up,
salute
everyone?
M3. What up? What up?
How you guys doing, man?
We good.
Look, no disrespect to the DC universe, right? And not being biased because I know I'm Marvel all the way, but only when it comes like to their movies. I feel like between DC and Marvel, right? It's like they're like in the some things like in the reverse. Like let's just say, and compare and contrast, DC, right? They have the best TV shows, you know, or it'd be Flash, Arrow, whatever. Even if it's under the CW brand or what. But when it comes to the movies, I feel like the movies is lackluster. One of the movies that I know for sure, excuse me, was like one of the best, especially in the Batman movies, was Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you know, by Christian Bale. But other than that, since then, I feel like the movie scenes like it's just lacking a little bit. Even with the Justice League, like it was cool, but it wasn't enough to kind of get my attention or wow me like like Marvel movies. Now, I can't say much like like about the Marvel TV shows, but I know like as far as like with their movies, they put like a lot of heart into it, more than they put like into like the TV shows. So it's like a give and take for some. But with the new Flash movie that's coming out, I'm like, okay, it might restore a little bit of hope, like for DC movies, and I might check it out. I might. Sometimes I'm a little skeptical, man, because like usually when I'm watching DC movies, it's not enough to keep me awake. So, but I'm a big fan of Batman and for Flash, so I will hope that the production's good.
I think it will, man. I think this film would definitely impress us, man, because they got the Batman from the old Batman from the early '90s. What's his name? What's the actor name?
Michael Keaton. Michael
Yeah,
Keaton.
Michael Keaton, man. They got him in there. So I'm kind of figuring like, yo, is Michael Keaton gonna be the Thomas Wayne in this film? Is this film is gonna be a total mimic of the Flashpoint? I mean, yo, talk to me, man. And if
I
it
mean,
is, you can't tell me it's not gonna be hot.
well, no, they didn't. Well, one, they classified him in his older version of movies. They classified him as literally the Bruce Wayne, but with a different insignia. Two, at the same notion, he's not going to be classified as the Thomas Wayne because he doesn't have the red dot with the Batman symbol on it. So he's not classified as Thomas Wayne. It would have to be a different character.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Now,
but you never know, man. You know these films, they don't copy
yeah,
everything down to the T. You know what I'm
that's true,
saying?
but my thing is let's just be real mindful. If they're sticking to the storyline, though, you ain't gonna change that. You ain't gonna change that version of Michael Keaton's Batman to just fit the Thomas Wayne thing. If you do that, then you honestly that's thing going down. And why it's going down? Because as a comic book person or someone that's interested within DC comic books as a whole brand, that you just already know that that's BS. And I'm not. Just because the thing played out well doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize it and say that's not how it's supposed to be played. So I ain't going down for that.
Yo, salute to you, Be Easy, man. I'm glad you're in the building, man. Salute.
Be easy. What up? What up? Oh yeah.
What up?
Also gotta promote media reviews with them dudes with Be Easy. We working on some stuff, man. We cooking up some stuff, man. Check that out as well. But also, I think like I think I think like I don't know. I don't know what version of Batman this is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Because they haven't really made it clear. I guess we're gonna find
It's both
out.
the Batmans. It's both Bruce Wayne Batmans from different time periods. That's what it is.
Ah, okay.
Because trust me, they're both named Bruce Wayne. The only one that's Thomas Wayne is, like I said before, is literally the Batman. Okay, I have to find it. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna bring it up, but that's the only version of Thomas Wayne as Bruce Wayne. If they bring that up, now that's different, but I doubt it because they're only showing the ones from the Dark Knight and then, of course, the one from the older time. So that's the two different versions overall. The funny thing is, because I know the one thing though. Now, it would have been more nicer if they would have gotten freaking George Clooney, but I know George Clooney wouldn't do it though.
Well, why you feel that way?
Think about it. George Clooney's Batman had Robin and Batgirl. Enough said.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you put it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question about DC's multi-universe, because I understand about like with Marvel's. No, I'm sorry, not Never mind. I'm tripping. I was getting them all mixed up, but now, okay, now Marvel, they have their own like multiverse, right? I understand about like DC's multi-universe, like as far as like, you know, with Flash and then the timeline in different Earths. But does Marvel have one too?
Okay, the old school version. Okay, old school comic versions. Like this lady named Madam Widow. Like she had access to their
Madam Web.
multiverse. Know what I mean? And but now Marvel had just released the film with Doctor Strange, right? The Doctor Strange Part 3 or Part 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Based about this chick, this Mexican chick that has the ability to travel from different multiverses. And from the film perspective, yeah, they using that chick for that. You know what I mean? Like show different parts of the multiverse and stuff like that. Matter of fact, they're getting ready. That's gonna transition into the Secret Wars. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got it.
You know what I mean? And that's their that's their version of the multiverse. But yo, Marvel never was really like their comics never really like got into that multiverse thing like really heavy like that. Not like DC. Like DC, that's their thing. Yo, salute to you, Alonzo Hall. I see you in the
Hello,
building,
Alonzo.
man. Appreciate
Lonzo, what
you
up,
coming
boy?
through, you
Okay, to add to M3's comment about Marvel's multi-universe, if you watch Loki, that's a prime example of the multi-universe, basically.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you're right.
And then, of course, when you saw Kane the Conqueror. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Word out, word. Hey, yo, man, and the thing, I like Low Key's character, right? Now, I'm not too sure if y'all into the animated independent films joints that they be putting out, but they got this one joint where Low Key, right? He kidnaps Bruce Banner, right? Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk within that in Asgard, and Low Key's controlling his mind, right, and using him to try to body his own brother Thor, right. Fast forward, right, yo, somebody threw Bruce Banner, well, the Hulk in hell, and the nigga was just destroying shit in hell, right, and the person that was running hell was this chick named Hera. She was like, yo, get this nigga out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? That's like one of my favorite Jones to
Damn.
watch, man. Any y'all seen that joint?
Yo, Rush, you're talking about Hulk versus, right? Hulk versus Thor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk versus Thor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where Loki separates Bruce Banner from the Hulk, and then he's nothing but pure rage incarnate, and he has no. They technically the funniest thing is the one thing that was limiting the Hulk was Bruce Banner, which is funny if you separate him. He's just nothing but pure rage and really less human, and he's
right.
just
And
like he's on like a massive rage tantrum, and he fights Thor. Okay, I'll be honest. Let's be real. That version of Thor was incredibly weak because even Hulk just getting mad, they always end up tying in fights or stalemates. And not to mention Thor holds back because that's his friend, particularly. But he still hits him with the damn hammer. Don't get it twisted.
mm-hmm.
It's because it's enough to get the job done. But like one thing I didn't like is I'm like, bro, he's just not going to straight up beat up Hulk Thor like that. That's not happening. You're talking about the God of Thunder, bro. So
but when you watch
I
that
enjoyed
film,
it.
he gave him the beats
I
though.
enjoyed it. Don't get it twisted. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it, but
but you know what?
it's
I
not
think
like an
that
all out
film.
fight though.
that film, I think it kind of magnified the skills of how low key has to, run up on niggas, whether if it's his brother or a different Asgardian. You know what I mean? I think he was kind of like the star of that film, even though it wasn't based on him like that. I mean,
Right. I mean, one more thing. I do apologize for being late, y'all. Like I said, I'm just knocking out some more stuff right now. I'm about to be done soon. But yeah, that the Wolverine one is probably my favorite one, just because that's a battle that's gonna go on forever. Even though
yeah,
Wolverine and to actually give you guys information for that film, that is an adaptation of Wolverine's first appearance. Because when Wolverine was first created, he was a villain that was used to combat the Hulk. That's what he was originally introduced as, and they used that Department H storyline for Wolverine for when he first encountered Hulk, and they just made it to a whole movie, which was good because you had Deadpool, you had all his own personal villains in one movie, and him battling the Hulk too, which made that movie the awesome. Actually, I like it more than the Thor one, to be honest, because it's just more enjoyable. Like Wolverine got some W's in there, man. He was
right.
beating up on Sabretooth. He was beating up. He was beating up on Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red a little bit, and then he beat Deadpool. That's the comedy joke between those two. But
And yeah, go
but
ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
no. Go ahead, Rush. I want you to go.
Another thing I noticed with these films, these animated films, their storylines is a lot better than the live action joints, man. I wonder
They are.
why.
Yeah, you talking about the DC part, right?
Yeah,
With the animated versions. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why the
yeah,
animated versions are better is because the animated versions you can't mess up on those too much.
Yeah, they're not.
It's so
Yeah.
much more easier to really make the content. Look at it like this, right? With people will sit here and say when it comes to anime content, as far as like Japanese versions, right? You can never mess those up. Those are ultimately perfect in most cases, right? But you
Mm-hmm.
compare that to comics, it's the
Right.
same way. It's perfect. You can't really mess them up too much. I mean, you can mess them up, but you can't. But to the degree of comic, to comparing them to the movies, it's a whole splash film. But the
Absolutely.
problem with that is because what's the difference though? With comics, you ultimately are talking about them actually through a certain particular time frame and you're rolling it out. Whereas the movies, you're just doing a splash and that's it.
Yeah, like
all
go.
right. Yeah,
I
go ahead,
mean,
go ahead, Jay. You got
to
this.
speak up.
Mhm.
Well, no, I just want to speak up. I want to add to what Wally said. I'm not cutting them off. Hey guys, let me know if I have any background noise because I got my headphones in. So I don't know, let me know if you hear any wind or shit, and I'll mute myself. But to add
I
up
got
to
you.
what
I
Wally's
got you.
saying, um, basically that's why you're never gonna get a perfect adaptation of like a comic book film, which is like the thing they can get as close as like Civil War, even though that's not accurately, that's not done very accurately, but they adapted things from there to make it look really awesome. Ragnarok is probably the closest thing to a, before we get to Infinity War, to a comic book. How it looks fantasy wise, like this feels like a Thor comic book right now. It actually feels good like the other one. I like two. You know, I would actually say one and three are the best ones because they adapt things from it to make it look like, yes, this is a god with golden hair swinging his hammer fighting a fire demon. I like that. That makes sense. Infinity War is like the perfect example of like that is a perfect comic book movie. Perfect. It felt like one. It felt over the top, and it felt outlandish because comic books are like that, regardless of anything. So they have that leverage. I'm just talking about Marvel specifically. I just say we'll see what DC does with their stuff because they haven't been managed to combine the worlds to make it seem believable. But the comic books on the coming on the decline, they kind of make up for things in animated series like DC's Superman animated series, Batman. What else we had? Had freaking Justice League. I'm missing some other stuff, but animated movies, like those are all like really like they're good because they leveled down the reality of those worlds and we believe it. And I'll be honest, more things animated for DC just slap more than live action.
Well, yeah, and plus, think about it. When you think about like if we're talking about mainly DC, right? The main
Yeah,
two, the main two of those whole things were what Batman and Superman for most of it. And notice when they only mainly tamed those two characters, it was the main ship of it all. Then of course they went to Justice League. Then of course they went to Teen Titans. Notice that they
right.
played it very perfectly. You got two people that have a unique honor code because they choose to, I want to say this, choose to lower their true potential, what they can really do out there in the world, but choose to level it into a playfield of simple status of justice, knowing that they can just be overbearing, overpowered. Like let's be real here. I mean, if Batman really wanted to, he can make his own crime syndicate, crack down on all of it, and shut it all down. If he really wanted to. Say, F you, I'm going to control this whole thing. Even though he does it now, but regardless, he does it in supporting.
I think overall, when it comes down to it, DC's like, animated series, they just have a way better animation team than Marvel. Like
Facts.
it's clearer. It's almost like you look at
Yeah, no,
animation
that's
for
facts.
clay.
It's basically for me, it's just the American version of anime when they do it. And the reason why I'll say
Yeah.
that is
But
because
also it also sets like a great part of imagination too, as opposed to like the Marvel movies. So
yeah,
um,
I don't disagree with that. I think that's pretty accurate.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I would add also that we like what Wally said, because we kind of like, guys, I'm gonna start recording so little concerts we have in the back, because we had a good conversation regarding Punisher and Batman, but also I wanted to add to what Wally said about Superman and Batman real quick. One believes in seeking and doing justice in the dead of night, because that's what justice is best done, because that's what a bat does. He doesn't fly in the daytime. But Superborn believes in a tomorrow, which is why you see him. That's why you see such comic book covers with Batman being in the dark, and then you see pictures of, I want to say pictures, but covers of Superman with the sun and stuff, because he is that symbol of like brightness. So they both believe in justice in different like settings and stuff like that. But even Batman animated series flat out said this when he thought Superman was dead. He said, "I didn't. We didn't see eye on a lot of things, but I respected your justice because you told me you didn't have to just come from the shadows. Even he says even justice can shine in the daylight." That's what he said. I remember that quote because it was him acknowledging like Superman's way still worked and actually inspired him. So it's not just always Batman's always right. Like Batman sees other stuff that
well,
is
yeah,
congruent to
well,
what
of
to what
course,
his justice is.
right?
and
No,
and
Batman
and
is
like and that's good dialogue to me, because I like characters admitting where like he was not somewhat right, but yeah, he had a point. I'm stubborn, I'm broody, but I know he's right because of what we stand for. So yeah,
oh yeah, no, I think like most cases, Batman he understands reason, so he's not gonna ultimately be overzealous. But
no,
even
no,
with yeah, he's not
yeah,
gonna just be overzealous. He understands reason. But I mean, even then, I mean, the only time he really was in the daylight was when he did Justice League. That was the only like real time he ever did it.
Well, actually, I would say the Batman series. Actually, you got to watch that. That the animated
Well,
series.
yeah,
I'm talking about
there's
the
certain
Batman series.
yeah,
Because there's
there's certain
episodes where
moments.
he's in the daytime driving his Batmobile, and Batman don't ever come out in daytime. But I didn't give a damn. That show was like that version of Batman. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
he seems more human than the That's the anime series where I'm talking about, like the ones where Caspi's like he can't be touched. Like he gets touched a lot, tagged a lot, and I
yeah,
like that because he's supposed to do that, because it's like I still do it regardless of any just as any time of the day. Cause that's why I was like, he only comes out at night, so he's got to keep up a public image and thing like that. But
right. But that's why
I
he
like
got Signal
the show
because
displayed that, and also that show probably has the best Joker over the animated series one, because he is a fighter. He's wild. He is actually probably scary, to be honest. Because that Joker was a goon. He was a goon. He can fight actually give Batman comp and be silly, wacky, and jokey.
Wait. Which one you talk? The one, the
I,
animated
I'm
series?
talking about
The animated series. Yeah, animated series,
yeah.
y'all.
Okay,
I will
that's
So
also
yeah.
say,
Oh no,
y'all, like, y'all gotta
go ahead,
also
brother.
remember too, like Batman also, even though he's very intelligent, you still gotta remember too, like, at times Batman is a vigilante at heart as well. So sometimes that vigilante part of him can sometimes take over, and sometimes he can be on that vigilante tip where it's like, yo, I'm about to really take somebody out. And then I think that's where Superman comes in and like, yo, we can't do that right now. You know what I mean? Like we gotta maybe kind of work this out or think of a different way.
Well, yeah,
You know what
but
I mean?
Well,
he's
But
always been.
I
Well,
will
he.
say this.
Yeah,
Oh no, go ahead, Wally. I want you to go, and then I'll
no,
go next.
yeah. So real quick, so the reason why he's real quick. This is the Thomas Wayne version. So this is the Batman we're talking about. That would have to be in the movies, which is not going to be there. But nonetheless, right? The reason why I'm saying like, okay, the reason why Batman is always going to be a vigilante at heart is because he does things by his own. Like he already sees that the world itself is corrupted in the mind of how they condemn justice. So he's not gonna really work with anybody else like that. Whereas Superman, he's more inclined to work with other people in America for that nature, simply because he just wants to create a foundation of justice without overbearing his power over the world. So meaning he's basically finding an enabler to hold him accountable for his and how he does things. Whereas Batman, he's not looking for no one to find him accountable because the only way he looks at it is he's the only one that can do it for himself. He already did it for himself. The only problem is
Right.
his accountability is a slap in the face because it goes back and forth simply because of the Joker.
Yeah, and when we had that conversation last night between the scenes, because I've always said, bro, you have all this prep for like all these Justice League members, and you're telling me that you can't like take down a freaking clown? That makes no sense. It's a contradiction in terms of what you should be able to do. And then I don't like how people defend that. We're like, bro, he just took down the whole Justice League. You can't tell me he can't take that clown out. That don't make no sense. And then I'll get the excuse that, well, he's unpredictable. Dude, stop. He's fought people who have unpredictability and beat them. So I don't want to. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. But
He actually
back to
made a
what Wally
film
was
on that
saying.
too, on how Batman defeated the whole entire Justice League, and like he
Well,
knew
yeah.
everybody's weak points, and he,
Now,
yeah, man.
now someone altered those plans, Rush. I want to let you know that. I want to cut you off, brother. But someone altered his plans. They were meant to neutralize, not kill.
Right.
Somebody turned it into killing methods. Is what they did. So I do want to give him that. So it's
Yeah,
neutralized
I mean,
Justice
we
League, not
all know
kill them.
Batman can defeat the whole Justice League if he wanted to. You know what
I mean, one on one, if he had prep, right? But if I'll say this, if he's such a prep guy, man, throw him against everybody with prep. I'm talking about all coming at him at once. He's not winning that.
Hold
I
on,
don't
hold on,
care
hold
what
on.
anyone
You know what
says.
makes Batman so special? He is the only human being within that camp. An actual human being could body these godlike type beings,
I
man.
would say
And I
Green
think
Arrow
that's
too.
amazing.
I'll throw in Green Arrow because he's human too. Because when I say
yeah,
Justice League, I mean
Green Arrow is human. Yeah, you're right. Green Arrow is
He's
human.
human.
You're
human,
right.
but hold on. Green Arrow is human, but he has the writ that gives him, you know what I mean, a nice
Wait.
leverage against any other human being, you know.
Hold up.
Wait. Did you say Green Lantern or Green Arrow? Because I think you said
Green
Ring.
Lantern.
No, Green Arrow.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
Green
Green
Arrow.
Arrow. Yeah,
Green
Green
Arrow is
Arrow's
what I
dope
meant.
too.
Arrow
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah.
Yeah. Arrow, like he's good. It's just that he's another human with like just like his skills, everything like that. I can even go back to Smallville days where they say he's like at peak human strength and things like this, and he's and like the same like battling conditions and peak conditions that Batman has, he has to an extent. Batman pushes it a little further, but he's still on that tier of peak human. Is so for me, it's just like I said, when you make the comparison, like I said, with Justice League, it's gods amongst men. With Marvel, it's more realistic because it's humans with superpowers dealing with real world issues. That's the difference the Stanley wanted to make over DC, and I think he did it. And I think you just relate more to. First of all, people relate to Spider-Man than they do Batman and Superman. Let's just keep it real. None of y'all had your parents gunned down in front of you when you was a kid. None of y'all was sent down here to this planet to be the savior. that's why I said it's very unrealistic in that sense, but it's still enjoyable. I'll say that, and I'm not shitting on the characters or their creations, but I'm saying you more people could relate more to Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, freaking Daredevil, those stuff, because they're very grounded in reality in our world, and that's why, and that's why I see it as like a way of like adapting world problems. And we all love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the everyman. What he has to go through in real world, like he's not rich, he's not any of that stuff. He is the kid trying to. I'll say kid before I get to adult. He's literally a kid trying to make an honest living and trying to do the right thing. He looks out for the little guy. I respect that more than Batman does. He's looking out. Batman looks out for the little guy. Batman helps out whoever he can. He helps out whoever he can, and that's not a knock on him at all. But Spider-Man looks out for the little guy. That's what he's known for. He's someone that does good. He looks after people, and that's why I like him more than Batman. For me, that's just me because of his good. Despite the tragedy he has, he doesn't let that quote unquote drive him. He's moved on past it. Batman will forever have that trauma to him because it's just a reminder. And I understand it, but he's killing himself with that shit. Any therapist would say that. And they're right. Because like I said, he suffers for a lot of the things that real people go through today, but the difference with him is he just presses on. I mean and most people can respect that because it's the soldier thing, but that's Captain America's thing, because Captain America is the soldier.
Well, okay,
that presses on.
Right.
Say what?
Okay, so wait a minute, because I just came back into this, so I don't know what parts we left off from this. I heard also.
I was just saying. I was saying Spider-Man, Batman, Captain America. Like there are people who press on, but it's I say that's more Captain America's thing that he presses on, and so does Spider-Man. And Batman will do his goal in the end. Like I said, he will pretty much give up anything to do it until he dies, which is why he's talked about a lot because he's the only human, which I hear a lot of. But this is just me. I'm more interested to know Jon Stewart than I am Batman because Jon Stewart Green Lantern is very interesting because he's a Marine, a black character amongst a plethora of Caucasian characters.
Now, did you see the most recent animated film on the Green Lantern?
Oh, Beware My Power? I have not seen it yet.
That was pretty good.
I've heard mixed reactions from it, but I'm still going to give it a watch. I just need to see how good it is.
So
yeah.
Right, so from that interpretation, I'm going to take from my thing is because I also heard you said the about Batman, and then of course how his trauma is a detriment to him. I say it like this: it's one of those 50-50 transactions.
It's a double-edged sword. It's used to push him. Like I said, I'm not saying it's inherently bad.
But my thing is, I'm not calling it. I'm not calling it a thing of inherent, back and forth. My thing is, it's only inheritance when he has people around him. Usually, when he has people around, that's when it's only an inheritance in a backlash.
A hindrance.
Hindrance, backlash.
I was curious what word you were using. I'm like, hindrance. Okay. I'm just curious, bro.
Good. No, but that's when it usually is backlash because when he has his people around him. Other than that, he's mostly able to press forward. There's nothing really that can really get him out of it to the point where he's like in shock or in trauma. Like that part with Bane. Okay, that's that one part. Like you can definitely say like without anybody else, that's that one part that really triggered him. But other than that, take that away.
Well, he did press on from that because it was but that's after
the fact. Yeah.
And also, we're using the Dark Knight Rises for that too. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, because as many problems as I have with that film, the last like 5 minutes are really really good because I tell everybody this. The fact that like Christopher Nolan says like because this Cinematherapy said this and they said the best people that actually hit it on the head. They said because Batman, the interpretation of Batman, like he's always brooding into the night and just alone and suffering and tormented. And Christopher Nolan said, "Not in my version. I'm gonna give him an ending." And the fact that they could either kill him or let him live would have been a flex.
Right.
But at the same time, there's still issues I have personally, but that's just me because he was only Batman for a whole year, went into retirement for 8 years, came out of retirement, went back to retirement. I'm like, that's not Batman, bro. I don't care what anyone says. That's not Batman. And you can argue me as much as you want, but that's not Batman. He's obsessed with his goal, and he'll do it till he dies. He's not gonna like retire until he's like of old age, like in Batman Beyond, where he says, "I'm Batman no more because I'm old and I can't do this no more, and it was killing me." Hence, when Terry McGinnis came around, that was a successor. So I'm like, you're never gonna get that version of Batman, probably.
Hey, that Batman Beyond was fire. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right. Now
Yeah,
that's
I
my
remember
series.
that joint.
Now
But yo,
that,
you
that's
say
my
this so
series.
that
yo,
was the
salute
classic.
to you,
That's
Sir
that
Hell
banger.
Speaks, man. I see you in the building, man.
Sir
Much
Hell,
love.
That
what's
is
up,
that
man?
banger. That is that
Oh,
banger.
Sir Hell is here.
Yeah. So that was the chat.
Oh, how you doing, Sir Hell? Yeah.
But yeah, man. But that Batman Beyond was a banger. It was a
Batman Beyond is a banger for
banger.
me,
It was a
intro
huge
wise and freaking character wise, because
No.
I love that we have a delinquent as a main character, and I always love that.
Yeah, I
That you
thought
turn
that
these
was dope
delinquents to
too.
good guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, but the funniest thing about it for me was like this was when they really got good. When they did that Future Cross episode with the Justice League thing, and they started showing off all those, and that was when it really got good.
Oh yeah, Future. Yeah, so you had like Future Superman who's taken over by like a space alien starfish. I love that. That's freaking hilarious. A starfish, alien starfish. I love it.
Yeah, but but morally so because we got to see the older version of Static Shock. So you know how when we saw Static Shock's cartoon anime, that thing was like this just to see where he would
we need
be
to talk about that for a
older.
second.
Yeah, Static Shock was cool too.
Static Shock is like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna lie. The one thing that I said the best anime show was Static Shock, Batman Beyond. I'm gonna say the Spider-Man animated series, Spider-Man Unlimited series, even though it was short. And sorry about that. Damn noise.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man Unlimited was lovely as well.
Sorry, bro. He had the best that was the best Spider-Man costume ever. I was like, bro, that is the sickest costume. A spider. Hey, listen. A spider web cape. It with a watch that's like a symbiote almost, and I'm like, bro,
well,
you got
actually,
the best
nanoids.
It was actually no. I said it worked like a symbiote almost.
Yeah, it worked like a symbiote. Yeah. Of course, it worked like a symbiote.
That's what I mean because
like nanos.
Nanos. So technically, he had the invisibility. He had better spider tracers. He could, He could make sonic sounds out of it. Like, dude. Dude. And the nano machines could just absorb the web packs and make more of it. I'm like, bro, stop. Like, dude. I actually watched a recent episode of that because I actually have my iPad and I have Apple TV. I actually watched the whole season. That shit was good. And I'm like, bro, I hate I got canceled, bro. Like, give me more of that story. God damn. Shit. Because when I was a kid, I was like, yo, where are more episodes of this shit, bro? Like, give me more. Give me more of this. Because it was like it was short lived, but it was enjoyable. Now Static Shock, like, my teenage black superhero, best teenage black superhero. Like that's my dude. That's my dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: DC really hit that on the head, man. They really hit that on the head.
We got 4 seasons of epic awesomeness. We got his white friend, best friend Richie, who's a genius. We got the chick Shebang that came in there. Like, bro, that whole thing was just freaking awesome.
Yeah,
and
but, villains. But it paid very perfect to the storyline. Like this, like I ain't gonna lie, look.
Oh, by the way, he's in Dakota, by the way.
Played very well within storylines.
Anybody who lived in Dakota, man, shout out to y'all because y'all got a shout out from being for static. For Virgil being in Dakota.
Bang Babies.
Oh no. That's the Bang Babies was the gang term. They called them metahumans.
Lady E, we see you. Salute.
Yeah, that was Bang Babies were the clique.
Oh heck yeah, man! Because at the beginning they call them Bang Babies and they say metahumans at the end of the day. And it was nice. Yvonne was probably my favorite villain because he was a gangster that had shadow-like abilities.
Like, bro, Yvonne was had to be the biggest one there. He had to.
He's my favorite one. He says, "I am Yvonne, you fool."
He's the biggest villain in the room. He was the big
Yo,
homie.
man, he'd be like, yo, I take orders from me. He like, yo, take charge. Like, I'm
But
sorry, man.
hold on. But Virgil, homeboy, the genius dude, he's also a metahuman too. His
Yeah.
his abilities was dormant. It didn't fully
Yeah,
develop
yeah, yeah.
till like 4 seasons later. Know what I mean?
I think it was
Well,
season
no, it
2
was
or
like
3,
season
somewhere
two.
around there.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah,
2 or
exactly.
3.
2 or 3. Yeah.
And because they had
That's when it
two
really
full seasons
clicked because
together.
he was really expounding his brain like to a higher level.
Right,
Right, but that only
like the whole
happened
episode
because
where he gets his
hold on.
abilities is hilarious because he was
That
just writing
only
down formulas.
that only happened because I think Brainiac had something to do with that. I think
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no.
He probably was an
Well,
added
but
effect,
that was
but
later. That was later,
okay,
brother
okay,
Rush.
okay.
Because when he
yeah,
first got his abilities, it was just because him being around static enough woken up his abilities because he got hit with he was near because Virgil said you were near me after I got gassed and my clothes reek of this radiation, this shit
well, yeah,
that got hit with,
but
and
that's the explanation part.
and it was dormant and it was just dormant and then it woke up. Now
Yeah, but it
Brainiac
woke
took
up when
over.
it
Now
started.
Brainiac took over him when the Justice League came in on the episode
Yeah,
because Batpack, his creation, of course, Brainiac can go in anything and it just took over his
Yeah,
body
he
for a
hacked
good
into
while.
that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Brainiac does that a lot. But Gear is smart. Like he creates stuff really really quickly. Like I love Gear personally. And I said, if you do a live action, make sure that motherfucker's smart. Don't make him stupid.
Well, you're gonna have to make it smart. That's his whole MO.
I'm trying to think of other shows that they had that were around that tier.
But I mean, real quick, because I don't want to miss this opportunity. I mean, in the chat, but Nicholson said like, just describing this like Wonder Woman or even then most other heroes. I mean, yeah, most of them did have to been through Justice League because the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know why, but none of them weren't that popular enough to make cartoons out of. I don't know why they never did it. But
I mean, Green Lantern had a show later on, but that was like 2006.
Yeah. That later on. But my thing is with the Green Lantern part. The problem with Green Lantern not being there as an earlier fix is because they probably never had they didn't have the full adaptation to really create the actual scenery or the idea around it. Because you got to remember, you have to paint the picture, right? Do you put them in space or do you put them on Earth dealing with people coming?
You put them in space.
Well, that's
put
my
them in
point.
space, bro.
But
because they're intergalactic peacekeeping force. Don't forget that.
Well, yeah, that's true. But my thing.
Well, I said police. I said peacekeeping. I'm sorry, a police force. They're more of a police force.
Yeah, there are. And, space police.
Yeah, and remember they travel to different galaxies, which is a big part. Actually, you know what? A movie I recommend for all y'all, which is my favorite Green Lantern movie. That first flight, Green Lantern Emerald Knights. Watch that. It actually talks about how the Green Lanterns came into being. And then also, it tells a story of how they came to be. The first Green Lantern. And the first one that wasn't a warrior that managed to pass on his ring to other people. And then, but it also does, but they're dealing with the actual creature named, I forget his name. Cronus or something like that. I forget his name. But while this new recruit is learning all the new things, they're battling this guy who's made of antimatter, and they like all the lanterns come in. Like Mogo, the living planet, is a Green Lantern. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows about that planet. That's actually a Green Lantern, and it's like the most powerful Green Lantern, technically by stature because of the planet.
They got mad different versions of lanterns.
Did you like the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I remember that.
The actual film.
It was average.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't like it I didn't really like it all that much because the parallax thing didn't make any sense because that's how Jordan is parallax. They're the same person. Because when he gets infinite power, he turns into that. Well, not to that creature, but he gets power hungry and he can't control the abilities anymore.
I think what they was trying to do with that.
And Ryan Reynolds did not make sense at all either. He's more of the Deadpool character, and I said that before. He just didn't fit with that role. If you had given it to like maybe Tom Cruise, One of them,
Wait,
they could probably
which
pull off Hal
version?
Jordan.
Which version of Green Lantern was he playing again?
He was playing Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's a freaking Air Force pilot, bro.
Yo, salute to you, Black Ice Man. Welcome to the
That's why I
panel,
call it
man.
below average.
Hey, what's going
You
on?
were so
Pleasure to
yeah,
be
yeah,
It was going on.
yeah. What's
All
up,
right,
brother? How you doing?
I'm good.
And and considering Tom Cruise just did Top
Salute,
Gun, my
salute.
man, yeah, he was right to play Hal Jordan. To be real, he can play Hal Jordan.
Word
I don't
up.
doubt he can play it.
Yo, I want to move into the second subject matter, man.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Is male leadership, like males that has the ability to lead, are they a dying breed? Let's expound on this, man. Talk to me.
Uh, in our current world
dying
today,
breed
right?
by comics or dying breed by life?
By life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if you remember, I mean, he must be in real life. I'm like, I mean, there's plenty of male leadership in comics, but
I
in real
mean,
world today, I've said I'll say this: there's a minority minute of men who are leaders, and then the majority is not up to the task because of the social constructions and also the willingness not to want to be better. I would say because no, the reason why I'm gonna say willingness but not to be better because some of them are just cool, just playing video games and shit, and not really doing something with their lives, or want to be put in leadership because how the social norms and constructs have evolved over the years now. Because it's not in favor. I'll say this to some guys, it's not in their benefit right now to be a leader because there is no benefit to being one right now. Because
there
there's
never
more.
was.
You said never was.
No. Remember, a leader has to be. You have to be very. You have to be very selfless when it comes to being a leader, not for yourself, but for the world. So you have to be. Well, okay. The word I think it's selfless. Should be used, but
Yeah, self, yeah. And I said I think the like the men on here. From talking with you, I can assume that y'all lead, but y'all would have to show me actions that you do. Like I know 84 won already, so ain't no problem with that. My man Rush
Thank you,
most
man.
likely is one. More likely is one. Me, I'm maturing into that leadership role. I'm just like because the thing is, I'm going to lead my own family, and I'm going to have one. I got to make the best decisions, and I have to be level-headed and use logic. But the thing is, I want to encourage more young men to go into that role specifically. Now, you would have to follow somebody to know what leadership is, and then after that, you evolve from being a follower to a leader. That's how that's always been. And for anybody who's been in the military, I don't know if you got anybody cat has been here. That's actually where it all starts. You learn from your superior, you get training, then you follow under their command for a while. Afterwards, you start thinking and you move up the ranks, and then you start coming up with decisions your own to lead others, and not just lead others, but you give out good input that pushes them to want to get to the leader role too. So it needs to spread. So it needs to spread out to every person. Now, hey, listen, it might not hit everybody, but if you can get 8, I think you did a good job, personally, in my opinion. You're not gonna get all 20 men to do that.
With that shit, okay.
Because there are people who resent like being under the foot of someone else, or who just don't want to listen. Period. There's always that, but you gotta. But I've always said you kind of. I don't mean literally be in the mud, y'all, but y'all have to be in the mud a little bit to know what it's like to be under the foot of someone for a minute, and then and rise up, get off that foot, slap that boot away, and rise up. Is what you kind of have to do.
I get what you're saying.
And it sucks. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it sucks. And please believe I know it does because I've been under the foot of someone and I just slapped that off and just like rose up over the ranks because my job prior, I was a supervisor. I went up from being like just corporate like employee to freaking supervisor, and it was temporary, but I had the role for a minute because I was able to get us all early out, get everything done early, out before 7, and then we could all go home and chill. And people liked it when I was under the relationship because I was doing stuff to make us go by quicker. Despite the massive amount of tasks we had to do. So yeah, so I have been in the leadership role before. It's just see how good can you handle under pressure, and can you make the good decisions under pressure. But that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I missed a lot, but we're now talking about male leadership.
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
M3.
yeah, yeah. Like is male is the dude that has the ability to lead? Is he a dying breed? Yo, Black
Yeah.
Ice, I want you to expound on this, man. Yo, talk to us, man.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I would say that in my opinion, I think the male leadership individual is like a dying breed. I don't know if y'all touched on this already. I think y'all did, but it's like these days male leaders are scrutinized when they try to, lead. They're often called like chauvinists, sexist, or bigots, things like that. And I think a lot of the times these days, like in this era, I think it's easier for like most dudes to be followers as opposed to leaders because they don't want the repercussions of being a leader. Um, for example, let's look at the some of the dating coaches like Kevin Samuels, right? I think it's safe to say, some people may not have agree with all his thoughts, et cetera, but some may have looked at him as like a leader, you know. But then at the same time, he was heavily scrutinized. Like for example, like when he passed away, it was people celebrating, his untimely passing. Now, granted, his delivery could have been questionable to some. Some people may not have liked his delivery, but at the end of the day, he took that leadership role to try to educate people who may not have been educated in that subject matter. And also what Jay said earlier, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he said something along the lines where he's a supervisor now, but before he became a supervisor, he was like a regular worker, etc. And then he learned from his superior, and now he is the superior. You know what I'm saying? So it takes certain. It's a lot that comes into that. Like for example, let's say somebody works in a in an environment dominated by females or whatever, like social work or something along those lines. Let's say, for example, they're one of the only males there, one of the only males in that environment. They may be a little bit more hesitant to take a leadership role in that environment due to the fact that some people may interpret their leadership wrong as them trying to take advantage of somebody or trying to put their foot down because they're a man, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that reason, amongst many other reasons, is why, in my opinion, I think male leadership is not as prevalent as it once was, in my opinion.
Mm. Good point.
Yo,
Salute to you,
salute.
Black Ice and Alonzo Hall.
Yo,
Uh,
yo,
What's
yo,
going on,
salute
bro?
to you, Alonzo, man. Yo, I want to get Mr.
What's good,
Vest
family?
perspective on this subject matter, M3, and then we gonna listen to what Alonzo got to say. Salute to you, young king.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Loud
Yeah,
and
yeah, we
clear.
hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
Mac can hear
I
you.
think I think that I think the thing that's dying is not. I'll say it specifically for our community, right, which is like the Black community. I can't speak for other communities because I'm not a part of them, but I'll say for our community, right. I think the thing that's dying is not the lack of male leadership, right? It's just the lack of community. We don't have no community, so men ain't leading, women ain't doing nothing as well, and so we just have a lack of community. The community's dying. You know what I'm saying? And when the community's dying, then everything's affected. Kids are affected. You know what I mean? Women are affected, men are affected. And that's what we're seeing, across the board within here in America. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I can't speak for like overseas or whatever. But here in America, our community is dying. You know what I'm saying? If not already dead. Like we used to be on code. We used to have a way to talk to each other. We used to, what I mean, they may call it slang or different vernacular, but it was all understood across the nation where how we moved and how we rocked and how we did things. You know what I'm saying? But that's gone. I mean, even if you listen to music like back in the days, music back in the days, you can listen to any type of record that you want to listen from back in the days. Like the artist will shout out all the black neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And he'll take like 5-10 minutes shouting out all the black neighborhoods. You know what I mean? You don't get that no more. You know what I'm saying? And he shouted out because it was based on code. One of the songs I think of is like James Brown living in America. You know what I'm saying? He shout out every single black hood, you know what I mean, that he was a part of, every black community he was a part of, but we don't got that no more. You know what I mean? With our people, sometimes the men stepped up, sometimes the women stepped up, sometimes both stepped up. But in our community, we always had each other's back. But now that's just a community that's going, if not almost, if not dead already. So I think it's just a lack of community. You know what I mean? We need to get a community back, fight for it at all costs. And I don't care who brings it back. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. But we just need to bring that shit back. Because like I said, it's either dead or it's dying slowly. You know what I mean? And that's my take on it. Y'all can rock out.
Yo, F3, go ahead, do your thing. I want your perspective.
All right, so yeah, something like a little bit similar to Mr. Best, right? As far as like dying community, I would definitely say like male leaders, right, especially in the black community, are dying breed. Well, we're getting close to being extinct in some cases. But one of the reasons why like it's becoming that way, because one thing that's really stripped, and that's called the code of conduct. You know what I mean? So, in other words, you know, we kind of lost that type of code, like kind of what Mr. Best was saying, because following along with that code, you know, is professionalism, being respectful, avoiding certain like conflicts, and moving on to doing something that is going to be beneficial within the community. You know, ethical use and resources, accountability for actions. You know what I mean? Like we're missing those key components within our community. You know, somewhere down the line, people gave up. You know what I mean? Maybe there was a lot of resentment that, you know, we probably didn't understand because one, some of the probably things that happened was before we was born, or other things was happening when we was kids. But when we at least grew up, you know, we saw like a glimpse of it, of black communities actually doing something like the Million Man March. You know what I mean? Um, affirmative action and all the other stuff. Like we saw the power behind what we could actually do. And we actually believe that if we put our hearts and our minds into building a community and continue to grow strong, like we will be a powerful force. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of distractions. A lot of these I can't tell which one's the Gen Z or whatever, but the ones after us, like, you know, became soft, very soft, you know. And then they started having like, you know, like children that are soft as well too. I ain't saying like we're like, you know, grandfather ages or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like somewhere down the line, you know, like this community in the United States have definitely been like, you know, some soft ass people. And unfortunately, um, we lost our way as far as respect because now we're allowing so many distractions to tear us apart, so many divisions, fractions, if you want to call it. And so where there's fractions, there's major distractions from a bigger purpose and a bigger cause. If we could just get our minds away from these distractions, we could actually think and come up with some better solutions that everyone else has already been planning and is implementing and is doing it, like, you know, to this day. You know, I feel like because we're in a state that we're now like seeing like, damn, we have to catch up because all these other people overlapped us while we kept trying to like pull us down. You know, in the next couple of years, you know, as far as like male leaders in the black community, it ain't gonna be no more. Because one, no one's willing, including ourselves, is willing to put our lives on the line for a mass majority of people that won't really even appreciate our services anyways. We're just living a stupid ass social media like stage where it's like everybody is more focused on getting likes as opposed to pretty much, building like the community up as a whole. So, in other words, I think we're just destined to fail, completely.
M3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to add something to what you're saying. Um, there's a famous quote, guys, and it is from Thor, and I want to know if all the gentlemen agree with this because I think this quote speaks a lot to what men should always have to deal with, or what men will prepare themselves for. And the quote is this: "A wise king never seeks out war, but must always be ready for it." So yeah, you don't seek out war, but you have to be prepared for it.
No, I hear you,
Yeah,
but here's the problem.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, M3. My bad.
No, I'm gonna make it short. But here's the problem, though. We've been sleeping under a rock for so damn long that we ain't never prepared for whatever
Exactly,
happens.
and then exactly, and I knew you were going to say that too because I
I,
do agree.
I
I
just want
think
to say this,
okay, bro.
because things have changed up within our social construct. Is any dude that has any attributes of being a real male, that would be considered as toxic masculinity, which I mean, which would cause any male not to I guess embrace his full alphaness potential. Know what I
I
mean?
Right,
Now
his full on masculine side. I know what you mean.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
Now yo, salute to you, sophisticated jerk, man. Thank you for coming through, man. Salute
Salute,
to
Oh, no
you.
brother.
problem, man. Y'all was having a good conversation. I was just sitting back taking these gems, man. Y'all
Yeah,
cooking.
yeah, man. I gotta
Can
acknowledge
I?
you, brother. Yo,
Hey, Russ, can
Alonzo,
I?
man.
Can I?
Let's get your perspective, and then after Alonzo's done, we're gonna go to a sophisticated jerk. You're
I wanted someone to kind of answer what Jay was gonna say real quick.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Go
not
ahead, go
gonna take
ahead.
me. I think the problem is too is that there's no support where I mean, yeah, we could be prepared, but at the end of the day, right? I can't prepare for war if it's like chess. If my queen is out of order, if all my delegates are out of order, everything is out of order, then the war can't be prepared for. So things are just out of order. There's no support. There's no support on any type of level. I mean, not just in our community, but just for men, period. And also when people try to step up, whether when I look at men that try to step up, I look at women that's trying to step up and say, "Hey, no, we need to change. We need to do something different." They're automatically demonized,
right.
automatically, because they going against the grain. Y'all see it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen. You look at a fly artist like Lauryn Hill, dope artist, got blackballed. We look at other male artists who were dope artists. We see brothers out there, they dope, blackball. You know what I'm saying? Because they spreading something that's positive. So anytime we're gonna get some grain when it comes to us, we're gonna get all these labels and we terrorists and all this other bullshit, man. Like it's crazy. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, it's part of that cancer culture too, man. Like you try to speak up or say anything that's these days that is not noble uh regarding others, they're gonna demonize you, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of frustrating when you think about it. It's like being a individual who is outspoken, preferably a male that's outspoken, let alone in our community. So if it's our community, that's like 3 strikes already. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, other communities, they have more um they have the opportunity to speak up a little bit more as opposed to our community, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, Mr. Best, like the moment we speak up or try to say something that's in the best interest of others, oh, it's a wrap. That cancer culture, it's over for you. They're gonna take away your endorsements or whatever you have that's available to you. And I'm talking about like famous people. I'm not even talking about like the regular individual who's just trying to survive day by day. I'm talking about them. So imagine if like the regular 9 to 5 dude or somebody like that tried to speak up, he'll just become a casualty of today's culture, man. And it's really unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? So just wanted to add that in there.
Facts, facts. So, um, I concur with what both of y'all was with all of us. Basically, have the general consensus on to answer Jay's question, but to address the topic specifically in our community, yes, um, leadership is a dying thing. There's a few reasons why. If we look at the fact that uh, everyone is followers now, in order to have an effective leader, you should be a great follower and an effective follower. However, everyone is following followers as opposed to following a leader. So now everyone is in not only being the follower, everyone also simultaneously wants to be the leader. Why as well now everyone is making boss moves and boss this, and the boss is really a heavy thing to be, even the leader, because you have to have the accountability for the group. And then, to add to like what Mr. Best was saying, even in preparing for war, unfortunately, as the leader, we do have, the queen out of order and our other pieces out of order. The problem is, as the leader, we have to be able to pull them back into order. And to a credit to what Black Ice was saying, the difficulty is when you try to rein, especially in our community, folks in to be in order. Look, you're a pawn, play your position. Trust me, you want to get to the rook, you'll get there. But you got to make these moves first on the board. Once you make those moves, you get all the way to across to the other side, you can become a new piece. But you got to get across to the other side first, right? The only one that's shifting all the way across the board any way they want is the queen, right? And I think, again, especially in our community, we got too many leaders and not enough followers, and too many followers and not enough leaders. So it's like a seesaw, right? So we've got people who want to be leaders but wouldn't be effective being followed by people who want to be followers but also want to be leaders. So it's just like I said, it's a seesaw back and forth of ineffective leadership, because it's just ineffective followers following ineffective leaders who weren't effective followers to be able to follow an effective leader. I know I just said the same thing like 17 times. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, everybody was spitting some facts, and I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Alonzo was saying. I really don't think it's a issue of dying leaders. Our male leaders, dying breed. I think it's an issue of the followers dying off, because in order to be an effective leader, you got to have people that's willing to be led. So I think that's the biggest issue. I think in our community, a lot of times, we got a lot of people that have a rebellious mindset. So I'm just looking at the panel, just even listening to all you brothers and, interacting with a lot of y'all. This is a lot of leaders, but I know like when we go out there, we probably try to give people information. People, it falls on deaf ears. So I think that's probably one of the biggest issues out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, to piggyback off what the gentleman is saying, because I want everybody else to get a chance to speak. I'm like, for me, like, it's more so on the lines of like not even just being a good leader, but being like a person that understands stuff, but that is able to lead, but also, like I said, you need to have the leadership with the ability of understanding, and the willingness to push and progress. Because I feel like your leadership should be more progressive than it should be just like I say something that you just follow it. And it needs to be about like you being in this condition can make the decisions under any peer pressure. But if I can't get you got not you example, if I can't get my army or my battalion in line, then we're gonna get well ran over in this case. I won't use the other word. So that's often not that's more often not a crutch than it is what is the word I would use? It's more of a crutch than it is a helpful ally, because you're making you're gonna make us all get ran over because you don't follow my directions. But you got to understand we're in war, so you kind of have to listen to the general if you want to get this W and have less casualties and win, then you're gonna have to shut up and listen. Against like your better like judgment. You have to, because like I said, would you rather argue? Would you rather be in the ground, or you want to be talking about the victory and having a cup of beer, talking about how y'all achieve victory? Because like in war, like people had great leaders. People had like probably I would say this, probably the right hand man to the leader was the next one, was after the main leader left, after he had given so many like victories, and then he finally dies of old age or whatever. The dude that was his right hand man is the next leader after him. Then that's because he followed his lead, and he was able to get an idea of how a leader is supposed to move. But also, like I said, more so you're under mentorship. I think that's the best way for me to say it. You're under someone's mentorship, and then that's how you grow. And not only that, like heck, you could probably rule your own kingdom at that point. But not to drag the point on too long, it's just that I think some people know inherently like who is a good leader to follow and who's like, pardon my French, the dumbass who we don't want to follow, of course. Because I've always said it's always because every once in a while you get the dumbass who doesn't want to take the vaccine. But also you get the person that tells you no, this vaccine isn't good because there's other people who are still alive with their immune system without getting sick. So it's like one of those things.
Jay just stole my point without even knowing it. Go ahead.
So real quick, Jay, I want to piggyback off of what you were saying in terms of like the mentorship or what have you. Another thing that we also have to look at, and I think this is kind of more to the point of what Sophisticated was saying, is we do have to have a like effective followers. So I'll get sometimes, right, like you said, Jay, the current leader, right, who leads us to victory will pick or select or groom or however you want to say it, his predecessor, right?
Exactly.
However, we also have to look at the fact that predecessors sometimes don't want to step up. I'll give you guys a real life example. I used to work at a dollar store, right? And at that dollar store, this was years ago, I was the assistant store manager. But I cleaned the store up. It was one of the worst performing dollar stores in the region. My manager, who was a Caucasian guy, was never there. I was always there. I was the reason the store got cleaned up. But when corporate came, they thought I was the general manager. So they were talking about all these bonuses and da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Then the next day, my manager was like, hey, I'm getting old. I'm considering leaving. Congratulations, this could be your store. Pick your predecessor, right? There was one young gentleman, he was the only other black dude that worked at the store with me. And he had explained that he had just gotten his girlfriend pregnant. Now, at the time, I was making $9 an hour, right? Like I said, this was almost 20 years ago. And the regular employees were making $8 an hour. So the one employee who's the black guy who told me he had a kid on the way, I started, applying more pressure to him and grooming him to become my assistant manager, right? It's only $1 an hour raise initially, and yes, it is more responsibility. However, he also got the title and the role. And I was explaining, you got a baby on the way. Take this. Now you got the title of management. You can leave. And now when you have that title, you can go elsewhere and demand more money. But you got to start somewhere. And then too many people want to shy away from being groomed into that leadership position, right? Because I was trying to groom him to be the ASM and then eventually have his own store, making in 2006, $52,000 a year, right? And he backed off. So I think a lot of in our community, we got dudes who are scared as shit, excuse my language, of being in a role of leadership. Even though we talk boss, king, HNIC, we know that there comes a lot of responsibility with that,
Now,
right?
do you think that stems from a single parent household, like our
I'm so
single
glad you
parent
said that.
household, our single parent household producing weak men that does not have the ability to lead? Talk to me. Let's expound on this.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to say that. A lot of our community, you know, a lot of the men in our community are raised by single mothers. We know for a fact that the reality is they don't want the responsibility. That's not in a woman's nature, right? There's a thing said that men have broad shoulders because they're supposed to bear the weight of pressure. Women have wide hips because they're supposed to bear children, right? So it's kind of a biological thing, right? And I think what ends up happening all too often is black men specifically are doted upon as children, and then we're 18 and it's you a grown ass man, you better get out and go do something. But it's a shock to your system, right? And so that leadership is often feared because we've never seen an effective leader in our personal lives, right? So, and then add to the fact that, again, in our community, anybody who is or attempts to be an effective leader, like Black Ice said, is ostracized or canceled, right? If you're outspoken, that's one strike. You're outspoken and you're a man, that's two strikes. You're outspoken and you're a man that looks like us, oh, cancel him immediately, right? And so we often don't want to be any longer that sacrificial lamb because of the
think we
Oh
did
man,
accident.
he was spitting too much game. That's why they got him out of there, man.
We took him
I
out,
think he
man.
lost
They took him out, man.
but he was cooking though.
Motherfucker took
He
him
was
out.
cooking though.
Hold on, wait.
I'm
You
a,
kicked him out of the call, or did he drop out?
man.
I think he
Man,
dropped out.
I don't know if they got him or not. I'm gonna just say this real quick, family, real quick. I think, as Jay was saying earlier, I think it's the ability. I think the one thing that we lack as a people is the ability to fall back. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to fall back. If I'm dating a woman or I'm married to a woman and she's an A-list, actress, and she's making multi-million dollar deals, I don't need to be in the spotlight. She got it. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be acting like I'm running shit and all that. No, she the one rocking the finances right now. She making that Hollywood money. Go make that Hollywood money, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Yeah,
gonna stop that bag from coming in. Shoot, I know I ain't got it. So if she got that bag rocking, I'm gonna go get that money with her. And we're gonna figure out how to make this money, be 10, 20, 30 fold. You feel what I'm saying? And if
yeah,
I'm a business owner and I have a fleet of buses, you know what I'm saying, that go nationwide, man, you look, everybody help me I'm gonna find drivers, we're gonna find other people that have other bus companies, we're gonna put this shit together. You know what I mean? I'm gonna delve into other businesses and all that. And whoever's with me, whether it's my woman or my family or whatever, they're gonna help me build on that. You know what I'm saying? But they're
well,
not gonna try to take away from what I'm doing. And that's the problem. We will have somebody who got the hot hand and they got something rocking, but we want to take away from it because we want to be in charge or we want to be in the spotlight. And it's like, nah, sometimes you gotta fall the fuck back and ride the hot hand. It'll be better for you
yeah,
at the end. You know what I
and
mean?
yeah. I've always said like if you're
Wait, Jay,
writing
you
a
mind if I say something real quick?
oh no, go ahead, three, go ahead.
Yeah. The problem is, man, like we're going through a thing that's called Black Pride Syndrome. Okay. Black Pride Syndrome is basically that we try to compete with our with the colonizers so much that we kind of forget that like in order for us to be successful, we have to know our roles. We have to play our positions. So back in those early times, because sometimes we talk about traditional things versus modern things, but sometimes right? We could kind of let the traditional values go over our head during a modern society, and sometimes we have to learn to try to adapt. Because see, the teaching that we always hear is that black men are supposed to be have everything. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be the sole providers. All the women supposed to stay at home, birth kids and all that, and not work. Well, this is a time, right, where both parties is going to have to work in order for you to survive. Okay, like we're not in those times anymore where jobs is like this at our fingertips, or is comfortable with our what do you call that thing? Our live not living expenses, but basically it's comfortable to like our living means. We're no longer in that type of era anymore. So if you have a woman, okay, who is fortunate enough to make, a lot of money and she's making more than you, there's no need for you to try to compete with your spouse. You know what I mean? It's just redundant. You might as well just like, be single if that's the case. But if you're in a relationship with someone and it's beneficial for both parties, why will you try to do whatever you can to try to sabotage that? Okay? Fall back, learn from what she's doing, and then find your own needs so then you could help support. That's that's pretty much how you want to, build a community within yourself so then you could try to have win-win for people who will wind up being successful. It's a little
Right.
too like the food channel, aka Simon and Lola. What's up? How you doing?
No, but in three, I see what you're saying. It's just that I'll say this for dudes: if you want to be the one continue your relationship and stuff like that, your relationship, then hey, make sure you get a lady that's on your program. Or if I'll be honest, I'm not. This is me. This is me personally. I'm not with you for these relationships because for me that just doesn't work. Because I need to be willing to make the decisions, of course, when it comes to the important decisions around my own household. But I got to make sure. I'll say this: whenever you're in a leadership role, it's not just like I said, it's give and take. You men, this is your responsibility right here. Women, this is your responsibility here for it. And the thing is, we compensate and do things that make things easier for each other. I'm taking the heavy lifting because I think a man should do that. I'm doing that. I'm sacrificing my body for that. That's why I see it's honorable when men go to war, things like that. You're technically using your body in order to serve and protect the country for your fellow loved ones. Me, when I take care of this household, sweetheart, everything is all about y'all, not me. Y'all. That's a sacrifice I'm making. And you have the privilege of raising of nurturing our kids. Well, the both of us do. But while I'm out there grinding, sweetheart, you're at the house or you're working another job on the side right there. That helps us build financial wealth for our kids, and also the foundation for that household is not going to go sloppy. If you're a sloppy household, that shit will crumble.
Yeah, I'm
But if
back.
you Yeah, I'm glad you're back, Wally. But yeah, I said if you have a sloppy household, that shit will crumble. Part of my French. But if
Also,
you
want
have a household that, like I said, that's under leadership of someone, and also your co-captain, aka your wife, your right hand woman, all that, it will succeed. You just have to know your role, and not switch when gender roles are convenient for you. You do that, that shit is gonna crumble.
Word up,
I'm I, I'm
yo,
done
to,
preaching.
yeah.
yo, thanks for the input, Jay, man. You definitely cooking right now. But I want to get Miss Oshun perspective about, is the male that has the ability to lead, is that a dying breed? Let's expound on this, Miss Oshun. Talk to me.
Hey, everybody. I've been listening, and I think everybody has a really good point as it pertains to the current state of affairs. I do understand that looking back, I guess opinions are going to be different in terms of leadership. I am of the opinion we did not have effective leadership in the past, not at all. I know what people like to say about the top 1% of the top 1% of Black men that was effective leaders, because essentially you don't need 1,000 men to lead. You just really need maybe one or two out of thousands. So I don't feel that as a collective we've had any history of leadership per se. You can look at instances in certain countries, maybe certain, and even then, only certain years. But effective leadership, I can't say that, and that's not to say that leadership maybe is supposed to be ongoing, right? I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't even know what that looks like, even from a historical standpoint. But as it pertains to where we are now, which is most important, effective leadership has to be based on what we want and or what we need and what we're willing to do to get to it. Uh, to be honest with you, looking at how other groups maintain power or have gotten power, I'll be honest with you, is a it's a circular conversation, because I don't think anybody living today is willing to do what, the conquistadors did with the Native Americans to take power right now, versus maybe going through a political route. You know, personally, I don't feel like at this point in history, power is about the brute strength of it all, meaning how many people can you physically move or physically subdue to be powerful. The smallest group in the world is the most powerful group in the world, and we all know who the small hats are. They don't look very masculine, to be honest with you. I've never really seen a masculine looking one of them before. Um, Never did. Not to say there's not a couple out there, but I've never seen it. I'm not saying that they're not masculine, but based on my culture and where we're from and what we see as most masculine looking, I don't find that in their group. However, for what they need in terms of influence and power, through that influence in the world, they have that because they have the influence of the people that make sense to have it on, if you know what I mean. So would I consider that leadership? Yeah, that's leadership. I mean, you doing what you need to do for your people, how you need to do it. I know we've spoken tonight. I've heard it spoken tonight about effective leadership in the household in respect to however it works in your perspective, in your household, right? And I agree with that. However it works, make sure make sure it's working. However, 70% of Black men are not leading households. And out of the 30% that might be leading households, you might get maybe 50% that is doing that effectively. So we're not looking at a very big number. So when we talk about effective male leadership, yeah, it seems like it's a dying breed, because the percentage of men that we would understand as being effective leaderships, even in their own homes, is at an all-time low. Uh, you know, so that makes sense. However, effective leadership doesn't necessarily mean, like I said earlier, um, it's just not. And I'll say this, you rise up from the bottom, right? Getting inside of a household, effectively leading that, and then trying to effectively lead your community. I think we're kind of backwards when we talk about, leading our community. Meanwhile, we don't lead houses, let alone communities, and you can't. It's no such thing as skipping the process. There's no such thing as that. Um, Other groups, they were leading their households in a way we're not willing to do today, but they were doing that. And then they led their communities and their countrymen, and then they led the world. And that's how it happened. Now, how it happened, I'm not saying it was a moral decision to do so in that way, but that is the process, and we can't skip it. So we don't have to skip it, but we do have to play the game correctly if we're gonna play, and that's the name of it. As far as leadership is concerned, understand who's the leader and understand where they're going and getting on board. Now, truth be told, everybody's not going to get on board with everything. Do you need everybody on board to be effective? No. We got history to tell us that. However, I think now that we have technology and we can hear so many different opinions, so many different people talking about, leadership and things like that, it can convolute the conversation and make people think, oh, they're a leader. Then we find out this person was never a leader. Meanwhile, they haven't proven anything to our community, but they can talk. So it's like back in the day, the good thing they had was no internet. Meaning, if you was a leader, you had to actually show proof of that. You had to be able to show your receipts and your invoices. Today, people can talk about leadership. They don't have to actually deal with it. Personally, I only look towards leadership in my personal life from the people that I'm personally connected to, which are my father, my uncles, my cousins, my sons, the men that I'm involved with. Beyond that, I don't expect leadership. I don't. And I know that I believe that is a dead breed right there. Beyond that. And I mean, I'll just say that from a historical standpoint and from my own experience as a woman now, I understand. As a woman, my perspective is different because I'm a woman. But that's as far as I think I can take that conversation to, because I can't define manhood or leadership per se. That's already been defined. But in my personal life, where I see it in my personal life to a degree that I'm okay with. I'm not satisfied with, but I'm okay with it. But a lot of women like myself can't say that. A lot of women ain't walking around saying 50% of the men in their personal life are leaders, like for real. Like they make impact, like people rely on them every single day. Most women are not like me, and I do understand that. So don't take my opinion as me saying, well, this is how Black women feel. This is not how Black women feel. This is how I feel, based on where I'm at in the world right now, which, a lot of people know. But yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yo, Miss Ocean,
I
that was
think
beautiful. She was cooking right there. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, what she said, I actually agree with her. I'm not even gonna lie. Where she said, like, people talking about being leaders in community, I think you kind of have to be a leader of your own household first, and then expand yourself to the community at that point. Once you've gotten control of your own household, you can surely can lead it. Yes, then you can say you have a stake in trying to be one of the leaders of your own community. I actually 100% agree with her on that because it's like you can't. To me, it's like you can't be skipping steps to get there. I'm sorry, or am I? Or because I'm gonna say this, there's no shortcut, no trickety trick that's gonna help you get there. You're gonna have to climb the steps. You're gonna have to climb the actual steps necessary in order to get there. There should never be a shortcut to anything. Because people who do that, I'm sorry, people who do that to me, it's just like I don't have any respect for you.
And I like to do like. Oh, go ahead, M3.
Hold on.
Yeah. Wait, best. Can I say something real short? Like just in a few seconds.
Go ahead.
You could. I agree, but then here's the outcome of it. Sometimes people who has a foundation in their own household, especially in the Black community, and this is just my opinion, don't really branch out afterwards. So your home is well established. You got the white picket fence, the good lap dog, but when it comes to helping out other families, people usually withdraw that because they don't want to get out of the comfort zone. That's all.
Yeah, I would say that I think our focus should be when we're dealing with family, we're dealing with relationships. And salute to Porch Time, Mr. McKinney, also Mr. Nebraska. I see you, Cornhusker. What's good? What's good? Salute to everybody who's up in here. Everybody pulled up in the chat. Everybody on the panel and everything. But let me say this, y'all. Right? I think our big problem is the fact that one reason why we lack so much structure, the fact that we're not focused on generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? We're not focused on that. We're focused on a whole bunch of other stuff, and we're not focused on generational wealth. When I go to the doctor's office and I meet the head nurse, and then I'll be like, man, you and the head doctor got the same last name. She'll be like, yeah, that's my husband. Or yeah, that's my father. Or yeah, that's my uncle. Or whatever. They keep it in the family. You know what I'm saying? And they work together. And they work together to build generational wealth. But we don't work together to build generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? And that's a long issue as well. We can't have community if we don't have money and resources. Like, we can't have structure if we don't have money and resources. Like, if we don't have those things, then guess what? You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be no leadership, ain't gonna be no followers, ain't gonna be none of that. You know what I mean? Because we're not building on nothing. Nobody wants to build with somebody, and there's nothing to look forward to. You know what I mean? But if I'm building towards something, and I know there's gonna be generational wealth, you know what I mean? I know that if I'm working at a doctor's office, my wife is working as a head nurse. My daughter's going to school to learn how to be a practitioner. My son is going to school. He's gonna become a you know what I mean? He's gonna become, you know what I mean, a therapist. You know what I mean? And then I know my father already has a practice of his own. Man, we keep it all in the family. You know what I mean? And that way we can build generational wealth. And not only that, we leave a legacy, right? We leave a legacy of people in the medical field, and now we become maybe renowned in that country or that state or maybe worldwide. You know what I'm saying? But we don't think about that. We don't think about building legacy. We don't think about building generational wealth. We don't think about nothing. So if we don't have anything to look forward to, we don't have no structure. Of course, there ain't gonna be no community, ain't gonna be no leadership, ain't gonna be no followers, ain't gonna be none of that shit. And that's just real. You know what I mean? And excuse me, y'all, and we don't appreciate the people who actually really try to step up and do things, even within this YouTube space. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just keep it G. You know what I mean? A lot of times I put my neck on the line for a lot of motherfuckers, and they don't appreciate shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I ain't the only one. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when we try to do something, we get scrutinized. When we try to put shit on the line, we get fucking scrutinized. So we get tired and we say, fuck it. We're just gonna do whatever we want. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. Because every time we try to step up and be leaders, whether it's on here, whether it's in politics, socialism, anything, we get stepped on. You know what I mean? We get told that we ain't doing the right thing or whatever. It's like, fuck it. If you feel like you can do better than me, then you do it then. You know what I mean? And that's what we feel a lot of time. When we try to build generational with a family, or we try to tell our family members, hey, I got this business. Why don't you help me with this business? Oh, man, I ain't got time for that. But you got time to watch. You could watch a whole series on Netflix for a whole weekend. But you ain't got time to help me build this business, man. Get out of here. I ain't trying to hear that.
Exactly.
These are the things that we do. You know what I'm saying? I know Sophisticated Jerk wanted to go next. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let him rock. My back, y'all. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Wiley wanted to say something, and then Sophisticated Jerk could jump in. I just want to be fair with everybody, man. You know what I mean?
I got you, brother.
I'm
Blue
mad
Red.
love for everybody on this panel
My
right
bad.
here.
No, you
That's
good.
all good.
Thanks for
Go ahead, Wally.
Yeah. So sorry, I had to come back because I was up in family. But nonetheless, to the answer, right, of the question, are male leaders a dying breed? No. I don't think so. They're that much of a dying breed. Let's just get another thing clear. I know y'all was touching up on Miss Oshie. Okay. You know I'm gonna mess up your name, so Emma. I'm gonna just say Emma for right now. But for her overall standpoint, for the leadership thing, my thing is I don't believe leadership just comes up from the simple fact of your household and you being married and everything else of that nature. The reason why is because there's multiple paths to leadership. The only thing is where it came from and how did it all begin. So that's what I take from that. But is it a dying breed? That all depends on, I say that all depends on the variables. But ultimately, I don't think so it's a dying breed. I think there's candidates out there. The only difference is, are you willing to follow those candidates? And at the same time, are those candidates even willing to do something that is something in your bracket of saying, okay, let's do something. For instance, but I say this in some senses, I would also agree that it is depending on who you talk about, because there are certain people, their leadership is a little bit off. They're not steadfast in what they want to do ASAP and focus on the main goal versus, entertaining certain venues. So I will say that as well. But that's just my visual for it. I mean, if I want to touch on just a little bit around certain points, this is my thing, right? Because when we talk about leadership, right, what are we really aiming for as far as leaders in this case? I want to expound on this one. That's what I want to ask.
Yeah, just real quick. I was just going to say, I like what Miss Oshun was saying, a part about especially in the space, all these discussions about leadership, not ours, but most of the time I see other people and they just want to slap the term leadership on themselves. And I like what Oshun was saying about, like, it's about taking action and uplifting those around you and stuff. So I think that's a point that gets left out a lot. But I like what Mr. Best in the World was also touching upon, because I do think a lot of times when we do have like good leaders, we end up putting that burden of leadership on them people and burning them out too. So when he was saying that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. When he was talking about like people, go out, help people, and then, they get just kind of burnt out, because we are humans at the end of the day. But, when people are sitting there taking advantage of, the nice things that people are doing that are reaching out, that could have an impact also. So I just wanted to kind of touch on those 2 points.
I mean, if I can add to that, you can't be a leader without soldiers. Appointed soldiers, to be exact.
Yeah, that's a fact, family, and I think the thing that's true is a simple fact that, like, you know what I mean? My thing is that, like, if you're gonna ridicule people or you're gonna say that they're not leading, you know what I mean, and they're not doing certain things, or you feel like they should do certain things better, then, you know what I'm saying, like, show and prove. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to say I can do this or I can do that, or I can do this better, or I would have handled this better, or if I'm leading the family, our business will be this way or that way. It's easy to say that, but how many people can really put in the work? You know what I'm saying? How many people are actually going to go out and put in the work and do that? You know what I'm saying? In any aspect. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, anybody can talk, anybody can say, oh, I can do this or I can do that. But how many people really walking that walk? You know what I'm saying? Like, really walking that walk. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, look, I'm not going to ridicule somebody unless I can do a better job. You know what I mean? Unless I know I can do a better job than them, I'm not, and even if I could, I'm still not going to speak down on them, because I don't know what they're going through. I don't know the ins and outs of their day or their family or whatever they have going on. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna basically come off of what I can do and how I can make something better. You know what I mean? But you can't make everybody happy. So I just tell people, look, if you're leading something, if you're doing something, whether it's community, whether it's on your social media, whether it's your own business, man, have a bottom line. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, and this is a quote that I always use, and I'm still use this shit to the day I'm not here no more. If people don't want to do business, you do fucking business for them. And that's a fact. You know what I mean? I live that on all aspects. Anybody don't want to do business with me on any aspect, I'll do business for you. I got that from the great Triple H. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do business, I'll do business for you. You know what I mean? And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be.
Hey, Wally, what was that question that you asked at the end of your thing? Because I think that was a good question.
No, I said which. Oh my goodness, I forgot. But I believe I asked, when we speak about leadership, what leadership are we asking? I think that's what I asked.
Was you saying as far as like community and stuff like that, what we're looking for?
Yeah, like,
I think,
just overall, like, are we talking about, like, because I think there's different versatility of leaders. So I'm saying, like, what leaders are we really asking for?
no, that's a great question.
Because I know Rush mentioned something earlier. He was like, do you feel leaders can be raised in, I think it was single parent households, I believe.
Yeah, the single parent household. Single parent household producing leaders.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too real quick. Man, that's a good question. I mean, I see a lot of situations where, like, dudes who may have been raised in single parent households, they did grow up to be successful. But when it comes to the leader aspect, I think a lot of the times they can struggle with being a leader or being in that position to be, I guess, what do you want to say? I guess an alpha male, maybe, because I guess they didn't have that male influence in their life. Because I know a couple dudes personally who were raised in single parent households, and like they're in current relationships now. Not to get too far off track, but they're in relationships now where they're getting completely dominated by their significant other, and it's like they don't know how to even stand up in that situation, let alone like what everybody was talking about earlier, being a leader in a situation where they're speaking in front of people and things of that nature. So man, that's a good question. I mean, Wow, that's a good question. What you guys think about that?
For me, I say this. As far as can a leader be built? I mean, to be born out of a single parent household. Yeah, there's possibility. The reason why is because that leadership is not being built from the household. Eventually, that young boy or girl, either which way, is going to have to articulate itself amongst other people.
Mm.
Eventually, you're going to go to school, middle school, high school, and eventually, there's going to be times where you're going to be grouped up with other people, and then eventually, you have to ask yourself: are you either going to be the one that is just subjugated to be the in the mix of the follower, or are you going to be the leader that knows who you're dealing with, and then what they're good at? So it's either you're picking up your team or neither the team is given to you. Either which way, someone's going to dictate that. And if the teacher dictates you being the leader, then eventually you have to figure out who amongst your team is going to be that type of person of what they do and how good they do it based upon their skill set. If you know everybody in the classroom. Eventually, so that eventually that outgrows. So I think this is more of a personal type of question. So yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's kind of
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because what I'm seeing is majority of kids, they're constantly being influenced by a female. For example, if you have a teenage male, right, when he goes to a high school, 9 times out of 10 it's a female that's teaching them, and there's a lot of feminine influence within that. Sometimes, some of these guys become like, male feminists, know what I mean, which I think that's
facts.
crazy and
right. So that's more. So
counterproductive.
yeah, that's the context that's missing. Then that's the variable that's
Yeah,
missing.
I want to touch on
Yeah,
that.
May I touch on that?
yeah, go
You know
ahead.
what I mean? One of my best principals, you know what I mean, was in middle school. Her name was Miss Fulton. And man, let me tell you something. Miss Fulton will put fear in anybody. You know what I mean? She was no joke. You know what I mean? Her famous quote was, "If you do nothing, you get nothing." And I remember that to this day, and I'm almost 40 years old. She was no joke, and she would walk around the school with a fucking bullhorn. You know what I'm saying? And you be in the hallway just chilling with your homeboys. You know how you are in middle school. You fucking around. You know what I'm saying? You acting stupid. You cracking jokes, wet willies, and all types of shit. You know how we used to do back in the day. And you hear that bullhorn. You know what I mean? You better keep it moving and pushing. She wasn't playing. So it all depends on the parent. It all depends on the leadership person that's there. You know what I mean? Because you can either have good leadership when it comes to that adult, or you can have a leader that's completely out of whack. You know what I mean? Or you can have somebody that grows up in a 2-parent home where it's just nothing but dysfunction. Like it's just utter chaos. And they have no peace. You know what I mean? Because the parents don't even want to be with each other, but they just there for the kids, or they just there for comfort. You know what I mean? And they just there for whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing we gotta see. Like, at the end of the day, it's about the environment. So if you have a figurehead that's there, that's a woman, and she leaving the house, and she actually is on her shit, the kid ain't gonna really miss no structure because she on her shit. If it's a man and he on his shit and he leading the kids, they're gonna be in line. It all depends on that person. You know what I'm saying? So if that person is in line and they doing what they need to do, they're gonna be perfectly fine. But if the person is not, or they missing some things, or they don't even want kids to begin with, and they just like, damn, I got these kids, I don't even want to raise them. You know what I mean? And they're not really investing in their children's life. Then yeah, the child gonna come up messed up. You know what I mean? It don't matter who raised them. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the structure that person is giving them. So yeah.
And also, like what Russ said earlier, to piggyback off that a little bit, yeah, that's true. Like if certain, I speak for males, like if they're raised in a single household that by a single mother, and like they grow up to go to school, high school, middle school, etc. A lot of the times they're really, really like sensitive and over emotional, and then at that point it's like they also have like that rebellious nature as well. Like they don't want to listen to nobody, and if somebody does try to teach them to lead, it's like they don't want to hear it. They just get aggravated easily. So in that aspect, I could see what Rush may have been talking about. Also to what Mr. Best was talking about too. That he cooking as well. That makes a lot of sense too. Like, if anything, it could be used as motivation for that kid. There's been situations where they live in a dysfunctional home with two parents, like, and he be like, you know what? I'm not getting any stability here. You know, when I grow up, I don't want to be like this. I want to lead. You know, if I have kids, lead them to be better than how I was raised, etc. So it's a lot of different factors that play into all this, in my opinion.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of you, I think because everybody has some good points, but like Miss Oshun, I know she was saying like she surrounds her kids by like a lot of strong men, so I think like that also helps. But you know, a lot of times, I have seen leaders come out of bad situations. You know, adversity and hardships do mold good leaders sometimes too. So it does depend on that individual too, because they might be like, look, I don't want to be like my parents are. Whoever's raising me at this point, I'm gonna get far away and I'm gonna make sure I'm successful. So, there are individuals that have that type of mindset.
100%, 100%. I
Man,
know.
salute Chicago Gorilla, man, for the donation. Salute Chicago Gorilla. We see you.
I would just add that I sometimes not all the time, but sometimes it makes me sad when I hear the issue going towards seemingly always towards, you know, quote unquote, a single mother household, led household. Um, as the problem. Like it's like if we just solve that, everything would be great. Meanwhile, most adults over the age of 25 know that's not going to solve anything because, like someone said, um, again, we have men in households, and only men can speak to this. But at least from the men I've spoken to, they have said it is not a guarantee by half that you're going to have a man in the house and he's going to be an effective leader. A lot of guys have men in the household they grew up in and don't have a relationship with their father and they live in the same house. I mean, that it happens, right? So this notion that, well, if we could just get rid of all single mothers, that would be great. Meanwhile, life has always had single mothers in it for whatever reason, whatever method. We've always had that. That's not going anywhere. People may debate on the percentages, right? But I would push back and say there's always been a high number of single mothers in the world. We just didn't care about the numbers at some point, and at another point, we didn't even have the technology to care, even if we did. We've been known that. Okay, take Martin Luther King's time when you got pregnant as a female, because most people wasn't using condoms. What did you do? You went down south, had your baby, came back up by yourself. Your baby was shipped up here a little later on, and what happened? People thought that was your cousin or your niece or your little sister or brother or something until you got older or remarried, and then the grandparents was raising the children. Like that was a huge culture. It still is to a large degree. And it just pains me when I see people say, well, we just had less single mothers, instead of looking at it from what someone mentioned earlier about the whole community. Even if you have an intact family, you know that your influence over your child is minimal, because there's no such thing as you and your partner raising your child alone. Your child is being raised by everything that touches their psyche, period. And things that are not touching their psyche as well. What your child misses in life is also raising them to be whatever they're being. This is why we have serial killers in other communities that are doing so well. So, I mean, for me, and if Sophisticated Jerk said it best, like I'm a single mother, but I make sure that I put my son in places that force him to, let's say, act within the society a certain way. Uh, I don't make no bones about it. It's hard as a single mom. You do pay the tax for being a single mom, especially if the dad is there but not involved, or away and not involved. You pay a huge tax, but keep in mind the community is what raises your child. So this is why I try to keep my son around certain communities where I have, let's say, a big opinion of them in general. I'm not that any community is perfect, but my opinion of them is like, it's a lot. That's where I keep him. And I know, like all children, they're going to be affected by the nonsense, but I try to keep that to a hard minimum and mitigate that just because that's my job as a parent. But I do understand that I can't parent my child alone. It's even if I had a husband, I can't parent them with just me and my husband. That's just not how it's. That's just not how it's set up. The television, honestly, parents children just as much as their community now, because children don't go outside as much anymore. And even when they do, television is just big. Um, I know when I was little, Disney started to change how children view their parents. Like, I always knew when you come into a room, you address people by their age and their position in your life every single time. If you miss a time, you was liable to get slapped. Now children come in the room and they don't know what to do, just saying yes, calling people by their first names. It's just kind of weird, flying off at the mouth. Like, this is stuff you've seen on Disney. Like me growing up, I didn't see that out in the street, but I definitely seen it on the television that affected, you know, at least I feel like my generation was affected by that. My son's generation is definitely affected by that. So this is why I'm very hard on television shows that I pay for, that I allow to come in my house, just a whole bunch of stuff. But again, that's because I'm not the only one raising my child. It takes a lot of people to create those cartoons, that network, those radio stations, that music. A lot of people have hands in raising children. And this is why we have the biggest problem with people, let's say, infiltrating parents' rights over their children, when we already know we don't have so much control over our parentship over those children. So, I think, and I don't want to pull out outliers in terms of single parents that have raised leaders in history. I don't want to pull that out, because the exceptions to the rules don't make the rules. However, I think the focus shouldn't be, well, the fact that she's single. The focus shouldn't be that. The focus should be more spread out. And I think part of the reason why we focus there is because of the words we choose to describe that. Meaning, if every time you said single mother, the words abandoned father household came up, that wouldn't sound like leadership. Any man saying that would feel bad for the next man that has to be underneath of that title. Father abandoned house. Yeah, like, who's the father that abandoned that house? Like, that sounds very bad. But we're so used to saying single mothers, single mothers. It's just like water, it doesn't affect us. But and it's the same thing, when I just change the language, now your mind changes to the subject matter. So right now, single mothers, nobody cares. Everybody wants to be single. Everybody wants to be a parent without having to put up with a partner. Everybody is on it like that. So the word single mother has no influence over nothing anymore. But if we just changed our focus just a little bit, and it don't need to be a lot, but just a little bit, in my opinion, I feel like that would move people towards a more holistic um, move towards raising better children, than just saying, okay, single mothers, women that are mouthy, they could just, we could just fix it all. And it's like, we'll never fix that. It's not supposed to be fixed. It's just not. That's not how life works. So, I mean, I do what I do because of how I was raised. I was raised in a real hard place growing up in Baltimore in the 80s. Like, it was really hard. I sent my sons away because I wanted them to live past 25. But not every woman has to make those decisions being single. You see what I'm saying? Some women live in a very nice place and don't necessarily have to do that. So again, it's not meant to ever be kosher out here, for real. But the way we approach it should be. And that's my way of dealing with that, to raise better children. I didn't feel no way about being single. But yeah, I sent them to live with their fathers. And even now with my youngest, because he's the only child left, he spends equal time with his dad, if not maybe slightly more. But I do that because I know what the consequences is for not doing that. But even if that wasn't the case, I still have to operate the way I'm operating, period, because it's just the way parenthood is. So, I'll just say that, because there's no blame to put on anyone, right? It really isn't. We're doing our best right now. To be honest with you, I think everybody's doing their best under the circumstances that they were given when they were children. Like, I'm operating on how I was raised, and I was raised in a very toxic environment between my parents. But I'm doing my best based on what I was given, and I truly believe everybody else is. but we want better. Sure. How we're going to get there in another 100 years, if we stay on course, we'll get there. But will anyone on this panel be alive when that happens? No. But that's the cost of changing the community. You'll never see the change, and that's what our ancestors did. So, that's what I'll say.
All right,
M3,
Nepal.
I got a question real quick, and I'm gonna let everybody else rock out. Wally rock out.
Go
Salute
ahead,
Simon,
Betsy.
salute Lady E. Okay, so M3,
Here,
right?
bud.
You've done real estate, you've done home ownership, right? Because I want to point out a problem in the Black community we have, right? So can somebody who never owned a home, right, never ever been in a home, tell you how that experience is or tell you how to conduct your business?
In some cases, they can, but guess what? I won't listen to them.
Exactly.
People can say whatever they want to say, but unless you
Exactly.
have that experience where, like, my mind is open to listen to you, then it's like it's gonna go one ear out the other, and that's just only me, you know.
Exactly. M3, I'm making that point because of this, right? In our community, we have a problem where we trying to tell people how to build something and we can't build shit, right? But we want to give all the advice. We want to tell people how to do this and do that, but we can't build nothing. We can't even. Nobody even want to even work with us because we so fucked up and toxic. But we want to tell other people how to work and how to do shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the crazy thing with our community. We experts on everything, but yet don't have nothing and don't build nothing. Don't own nothing. We own less than 1% of the economic wealth here in this land. But yet we got all the advice in the world, right? We got all the advice in the world on how to do this and how to do that and how to make this move and that move. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's the shit that we do in our community. Know what I mean? You know, and then we try to tear people down who actually got something that's built. The shit is phenomenal to me. You know what I mean? And my
let
thing
me
is
tell you the story when you finish. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you rock in them three, but that's what we do in our community. You know what I mean? We got all this advice, we got all this instruction, we got all these things that, oh man, you should have bought a home down that block. Yet they don't even know the cost of homes in that community. They know nothing about that, but yet they're telling you to buy the one down the block. That shit is wild, man. And then if you don't do it, they get mad at you and say, "Oh, M3, you ain't listening to what I'm saying. Why should I listen to you? For what?" Go ahead, M3.
Look, all right. A few things real quick. Yeah, I mean, there's been numerous people, not even just with the Black community, but other from people from other communities will try to tell me, hey, like, if I were you, I would do it. Hold on. If I were you, I would do it this way because I don't think it's safe. Well, have you had that experience before? Have you ever invested before? No, but you hear the old saying, right? It could crash anytime or whatever within the market. Or don't invest in this and don't invest in that. Okay, have you ever invested in option stocks before? Have you ever invested into any other funds that can contribute? Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean that like I will win or maybe sometimes I will lose. Advice is pretty much advice, but I think within our Black community, because I get the point where you're coming from, unfortunately, this goes back into, I think it was Alonzo who said this, but everyone is trying to play a role to being bosses, right? But they don't have no boss experience. So let's say you grew up, right, with no leadership at all. I don't care if it's a single dad house or a single household where maybe the mom or dad, whoever, or maybe you have both parents. But let's just say both parents, because usually what people don't want to talk about is that both parents are failures, no matter what, when raising a bad kid, which then that passes on into the community getting a hold of their kid. And if you're not in a good community, then your kid is just pretty much screwed up. You know what I mean? Without safe parental guidance. So let's say you have both parents that are messed up or whatever, and now you're creating a generation of a bunch of other like fuck up kids. Now the thing is, what happens is black kids in particular that comes from those type of poor communities, they don't really have the experience to even become leaders, to even fan them. But this is what they'll do. They'll take a couple of pieces of content, right, that they see on TV, that they'll see on YouTube now these days, and now everyone is a goddamn leader out of thin air. You know?
Facts, M3, facts.
Everyone wants to be. Hey, look, you know, happy birthday in advance to Kevin Samuels pretty soon. But look, everybody wants to be like Kevin Samuels, but you don't have the mentality to be like Kevin Samuels. Hell, some of these people, it's not even smart. I'm just going to just be straight up honest, you know. So, but then yet you want to have you want to try to match with someone, right, who has been successful as doing certain things. I'm not saying all things, but certain things, okay, to create some kind of leadership, whether it was toxic or whether it was beneficial. Okay. The point is, you got a bunch of dummies that's running around claiming to be leaders, wanting to be alphas, but you don't even know the concept of communication. You have to start with the basis of, and Alonso said this pretty well. You have followers following other followers. To be a leader, you have to be a follower who happens to follow great leaders.
Okay? Facts.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall. Thank you. I don't know why I keep saying world, but Thurgood Marshall, right? And many more. You know, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. All these are they're leaders too. You know, they're some are women, but hey, they did their thing. The smart people followed the people who were great. Our generation is following a bunch of dumbass rappers like T.I., They're following a bunch of stupid people off the internet that claims to be relationship gurus, but can't even get a bitch if they had the opportunity. You already know sophisticated, Bert. So,
and three speaking on Kevin Samuels, right? Kevin Samuels has a network, just like we have a network, right? We have relationships, and so does Kevin Samuels. He got relationships too. I like the sunglasses, dog. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, you can't compare yourself to Kevin Samuels if you ain't even got a network of people that you rocking with.
Like, you can't even compare yourself to these YouTubers that's more on your local area. That's the thing. You look. I'm going to say this because I feel like I'm watching thrift off a little bit. So let me just say this just to make my point short, right? Stop being like someone that you are mentally not capable of becoming. I'm sorry. Facts. Becoming. Okay. Look, just do you. Sometimes you're not going to get the audience that you're looking for. But instead of being goofy, right, like some of these cats are, and try to compete within our own people and then try to create these stupid, frivolous YouTube beefs, okay, be the man that can actually learn how to follow the right leaders so then that way you could pass this on to other people who may be blind enough to look up to you, but you could actually make a difference. This is why we have so many distractions. Like I said earlier, we got distractions where it comes to finances. We got distractions where it becomes like, men versus women, testosterone versus estrogen. Now you having competitions first, like with the nerds versus the cool kids, like Michael B. Jordan or whatever. No, I'm sorry, corny people. I'm sorry. The corny season is this week. So the fact is, we're so divided. We're all over the place. So let's just snap back into reality, right? And just be normal if we can.
Word up. I agree with you
Yeah,
on
I
that.
understand.
But y'all, salute to Lady E and yo, my bad if I'm butchering your name.
It's just Simon.
Simone,
It's
Simon,
Simon.
it's Simon, it's Simon,
Simon of
it's
the
Simon.
full.
Yeah, it's Simon.
Yo, salute to y'all, man. Thank you for joining the panel, man. I want to get y'all perspective first, Lady E, and then Simon,
Oh,
on the
Rush,
subject matter.
we can't forget Great Pill podcast in the chat. Salute to him, man. We see you, Great Pill.
Salute.
Word up, word up. Yeah, salute to you, Great Pill, man. Yeah, Lady E, on the second subject matter, right? We're talking about yo, males that have the ability to lead. Do you think they're a dying breed? And if so, give us your perspective on that. Talk to me.
Um, I'm sorry, my voice is in and out. Um, are there a dying breed? Sometimes I do feel that way, and then sometimes I feel that there is an evolution in the Black culture that is going on. And I think we are a part of that evolution. We are the culture that is, we are the generation that is changing. We are the generation that actually we can say that we're somewhat privileged versus our parents and grandparents. So we have to learn to adapt to new ways. Unfortunately, we have a lot of gender wars that are going on, and everybody wants to be leaders. But like someone said earlier, not everyone it was intended to be a leader. Um, I think the issue is, well, everybody wants to be a leader and nobody wants to be a follower. But like someone said earlier, in order to be a great leader, at some point in time, you had to be a follower. And so you, in order to do that, you have to have the experience. And sorry, like I think it was M3 that said, you know, some people want to go on YouTube, watch a couple of videos, create their own channel, and all of a sudden that they're experts, and that's not true. You have to do a lot of studying, you have to do a lot of research, and take it example, just to become a doctor, you cannot become a doctor in just a couple of years. This is hours and hours and years of residency and hard work and studying and hands-on that you have to do before you're even able to finish and even take your board exam to even become a doctor at that, to be licensed. Um, and I think we just live in a fast-paced world that everybody wants everything up front right away now. They don't want to put in the work. They want to do the express course and just be in the front. Nobody wants to start from the bottom anymore. And that's just my opinion.
Well said, Lady E. One of these days, can you sign my cap? You know, I would love to get your
Lord have
autograph.
mercy. Salute, Lady E. Lady E, get well soon too. You know what I mean? Get
I'm
well
hanging
soon.
in there.
Word up, yo, Simon, go ahead and give us your thoughts on that second subject matter. You're
Yo, yeah. Peace. Okay. What I'll say is are male leaders a dying breed? No. Um, issue is we don't see a lot of male leaders because we're just not in their space. We're not in their space. Like we're in other spaces, and we're all in this competition, and we want to compete. You know, the richest 1% captured 54% of the new global wealth over the past decade. And this has been accelerated to 63% in the past 2 years. We're talking about 42 trillion. And people don't want to talk about wealth. They don't really want to talk about real money. They want to talk about little money, like little things, like a computer or something. It's just like something that's gone amiss in their household. They don't want to talk to real people about real things. You know, it's really hard because You be damaging people's egos out here. And that's a problem. And especially when you get someone from a black community that's doing well. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that that person's doing well. You want to be aligned with someone that's on your level. And that's a problem. So I think we just need to open up the communication. And I think especially in particular, black women or women in general, like, you know, to find a male leader is not that straightforward because you got to get on their level. Like I was married. My wife was on my level and she's actually surpassed my level based on the fact that I was married to her. Even though we're divorced now, we're cool, you know, because I want the best for her because we have a child together. And that's how we need to rock. There was, I think it was Kevin Hart that was saying, you know, or it may have been somebody else. White people don't operate like this. Like we can have a beef tomorrow and the next day we're picking up the phone and just joking about it. We're laughing about it. It's like, oh yeah, you got my wits. Yeah, you're making me more clever than myself, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? But some people in the black community that just like cut you off straight off. It's like, nah, never again, off. And that's a problem. We need to like understand that we're human beings, I think. Anyway, this is just my personal perspective. And get beyond the BS. Because, you know, we're going to be rocking around with each other in the lifetime that we have together, regardless. It doesn't matter. So, you know, sometimes people see my approach as a bit harsh. But the fact is in my real life, in business life, I've never dealt with certain types of things that I've dealt with on streams. Because the people that I rock with, they don't operate like that. They just don't. Do you know what I mean? We'll have a beef. You break someone's leg, like, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, we was playing football. Do you get what I mean? It's just over. Next day, I'll see you in hospital. Oh, I'm sorry. This, that, the other is over. Do you know what I mean? Move on. What's going on next? But some people get real emotional around here, and it could become real problematic. And that's when you're talking about, you know, that saying like burning bridges. You don't want to burn no bridges. I ain't burning no bridges out here. But people may think that way because I just think personally they get a bit emotional. Now, for me, I have to be a black leader. I have no choice. I have no option. Where I live, I'm like 5%. Do you get what I'm saying in terms of black people that are out here? What I find interesting about the US is, and don't take this as any offense, and please don't block me or boot me off, but I'm just saying, you have black people around you. You know, my ex-wife used to say, look, she's from Uganda. She used to say, look, I came to England, I see all these white people around me. You come to Uganda, there's all these black people around you. So it's like reverse discrimination. And it even boils down to the context and the conversation. I just think we just need to get our act together. And that's what I think about it. But I appreciate you having me on.
Yo, most definitely, man. I appreciate your insight on certain things you covered on the subject matter, man. Definitely, you're a man of intellect, and I could appreciate your feedback on this. You know what I mean?
Salute, Simon. Salute. That was dope. Salute.
Yeah. So, yeah, can I chop in real quick?
Very
So yeah, real quick, going back to what you said, Russ, on the question of the whole single mother thing. I'm gonna tell you like this. So, do you know how the wolves move? Like real wolves in the outing.
Oh, you talking about wolves? Yeah,
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 like you know how they move.
yeah. I mean, pretty much there's an alpha, and they follow the
Well,
alpha.
no. I'm not saying like that. What I'm saying is, like, okay, if you don't understand the culture of how the wolves move, that's technically how we should be moving. Because my thing is, okay, when a wolf pup get born into the world, the whole community covers that whole pup. This is basically what going back to what Miss Osha was saying earlier, in a
Miss
sense, right?
Oshun.
Yeah, Osha. Okay, sorry. Right? What she was saying earlier in a sense, right? Because wolves, they actually watch over their whole pack. regardless of who that pup is. They watch over it, make sure they guide it along the way to where it needs to be, so it's able to grow and defend itself. Because at that point of birth, it's literally blind. It can't even defend itself. It can't help itself to nothing. So it has to be guided to a lot of things. But at the same notion, when it gets grown, it also has to go through that herd because it has to learn from the upper top tier of the wolves and the lower top tier of the wolves. And from there, it pushes forward to see where it goes into the pack. And are they going to push to go further, or are they going to push to be right there at the bottom, helping and supporting? So I think that's the one thing we have to look at when it comes to that notion. So that's what I'm putting on there.
Word up, I could definitely dig that too, man. Yo, sophisticated jerk, man. You got anything to say, man? Like, let's get more of your perspective on the subject matter.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch back on what Mr. Best and MD3 was kind of covering, with just like the YouTube beefs. And the funniest thing, I was like listening to you guys talk about the comics earlier, with my son. And we were just sitting there, like, dang, we want to watch that movie. We want to. And it was like a breath of fresh air because like this whole weekend, I don't know if y'all been tapped into the YouTube space, but it was like, I mean, nothing but drama. So, you guys have been like a breath of fresh air with y'all content and stuff. So, I think one thing we need to start doing more is, supporting the channels like Knowledge Relationships, yours, Rush, Miss Oshun, Simon, whoever else, I've seen a couple people like Truth, supporting him. We need to start supporting more of that stuff. And then, me, myself, I'm gonna start pumping my dollars into supporting more people like that. So, I just kind of want to let you guys know that, but just tying back into leadership earlier, I know Mr. Beast was touching on it. I think we got to get better at learning how to concede leadership because a lot of times, when I've been on panels and people have been talking about community, you have the people that probably never had leadership experience, jumping in these conversations and then trying to, give their perspective, and not to say that their perspective doesn't matter, but we should be asking like, okay, who's been like a city manager, who's done like real estate, like Mr. M3, who has those type of experience. Maybe we need to listen to those people, and the rest of us need to kind of concede. And then there's going to be times where you're able to give your input into the situation. As when it kind of comes to your credentials or the area expertise that you have. But yeah, I see a lot of people just jumping into these spaces and just kind of like want to just be a leader and kind of overtaking the conversation. And it's just like when we're having these talks, it can never go to a good place because it's just such a distraction.
That's definitely well said, sophisticated church, and I like the way how you put it out there. Unfortunately, there's two kind of people, right? And especially like it just solely in the black space of YouTube. And one of them is it's a very small community, but I have a vision. I actually believe that within a small community we can actually build. So obviously, in a small community, you have the blacks that are trying to redefine the stigma of what they have like in black YouTube. And then you have the nigglets out there that are just country coons or whatever running around, yapping their mouths, not creating content, but only doing beef contents, which the majority of people will mostly go there for entertainment, like mindless zombies. But the very small circle where you have a lot of educated people that's giving you the game, that's giving you the advice, that's actually telling you, hey, look, I know you want to, I know as a young man, you got a lot of testosterone in you and you just want to just pull up a bad bitch or whatever, but that's not the way. The better way is basically to not focus on the wrong things, not focus on the wrong type of people that you're searching for, but focus on just improving yourself as an overall man and as an overall woman as well too of class. So we have those groups out there. It just pretty much you have to build, you have to destroy in order for you to build. You know what I mean? Because people they'll pass you by, they'll come, they'll stay for the moment, and then they'll leave and they'll go to a different direction. And honestly, that's probably pretty much part of relationships sometimes, which it could be tragic for some. But once you kind of get used to things, you'll understand that, okay, there's a reason for the season for this person to be here for that temporary moment of time. Where will we be at in 10 years? I don't even know. You know, we may all probably be doing something else besides YouTube. Hell, we might go over the Rumble. Who knows? But the case of point is, you do have to build that foundation while your group is still small to build better connections and be willing to adopt new ones in there. Because I think that's where like the problem is that like we want to be successful, but once we achieve that success, now we're complacent. We don't even take the time to help the other person out who's going through the same struggles that we once went through. Oh, I'll be right back. But once we kind of get the hang of it, I think we'll be good.
I'll piggyback off of what M3 was saying, if I may. You know what I'm saying? And I think, okay, Alonzo Hall, I see you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Mr. Best.
I'm not a clear, cool, perfect. You know what I mean? Alonzo Hall, definitely. And I was going to give my kudos to Alonzo Hall. And see, that's the thing when we have experts, financial experts like Alonzo Hall, you know what I'm saying? My Brooklyn brother, you know what I mean? Also, my actual brother, Court Currency, you know what I mean? Another financial advisor. When we have real financial advisors that come in and give us that knowledge in that game, you know what I'm saying? We got to latch on to them. As soon as I met Alonzo Hall, I said, yo, we got to get tapped in, come through. You gotta work with me and my team. We got to network, bro, off top. Because I knew, I seen what he was saying. I seen how immaculate his mind was, and I had to definitely have him a part of the team. And that's what we got to do. We got to work within each other. And I like what Simon said, saying that, you know, within our lifetime, we all are going to work with each other. We're not always going to get along, but we got to work within each other. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And that's why I like working with people, you know, from overseas like Simon or whoever else. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing. We got to be flexible in how we do things and how we work with people. You know what I mean? Overall, you know what I mean? So I think overall, as far as the community, we got to be flexible and take from different experiences. Some people are going to give you experience because they grew up in the South, right? So in the South, they have a total different experience from people in the North or people in the West Coast or people in the Midwest. You know what I mean? And if you never lived in the South, you're never going to know that. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing we got to do in our community. We have to take from each experience because not everybody grew up in the hood. Not everybody grew up middle class. Everybody grew up differently. And we
Right,
all
that's a fact. Yeah.
and we, like Sean,
My bad to
go ahead,
interject
bro.
real quick, but I know Lady E want to ask a question, so go ahead and ask a question after Mr. Best is done giving us his thoughts on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. And I think when it comes to the YouTube space, you know what I'm saying? I think, you know, as M3 was saying, man, you know, it's crazy. You know, we at times can come through and we can, you know, we can come up with all these different synopses of how people should move or what they should do or whatever, but yet we're not putting the work in. And then also, you know what I mean, it's being flexible. And I'm always flexible. You know, I always have a plan. I'm always ready for when somebody leaves a go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always ready. Like, always. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta be. And that's just in business, that's in anything. And that's what we gotta do as a people. Always be ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
I
thank you
have one
so much
business.
for my bad. Yo, my bad for interjecting real
No,
quick.
you. This is a donation. Go ahead, bro.
Word up, yo, sophisticated jerk. I appreciate the $10 super chat. Much love and respect. And same thing to Chicago, really. I should have pointed out earlier too. But yo, thank you guys so much for the super chats, man. Much love, man. My bad, Mr. Best man. Go ahead, do your thing, man.
No, we gotta take a pause for the call when it comes to donations. You already know that. Salute to sophisticated jerk. Salute to Rilla. You know what I mean? Both for stand up brothers. You know, I got a lot of love for both of them. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. You know what I mean? You gotta always be ready when it comes to anything. That's the one thing as a people that we gotta do. We gotta always be flexible. Like I got one business venture I'm about to do next week, but even though I got that business venture, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable at all. Today I'm about to look for other business ventures to get into. You know what I mean? And that's what we gotta do. You know what I mean? I got things set up already on YouTube for this month, and I'm adding things already. I done had conversations with people, all it already. We always gotta stay ready. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm the best in the motherfucking world. What is Lady E's question? Let's get it.
84, stop being greedy, man. We out here.
Yo, I'm here, dog. I'm going nuts out here, man. I'm always ready. They don't know. Hey, if I shoot with one hand, the other hand coming up shooting with the other one. I'm ready at all times.
Hey, my ribs out here touching. You talk about you want more and stuff.
Yo, so I'm not playing, brother.
Okay, I have the floor now. Thank you. So I understand, we're all speaking about, how we can move within the community, which I think for the most part, we have that down when you think about in a lot of the places in the areas that we live in. Well, I can speak for areas that I live in amongst the Black people. I think the issue that we do have, and the question is when we're people of color, people of the Black race, when we're coming from different corners of the country and the leaders come together, at what point in time should a leader of one community step down to allow someone else, maybe from another community, to merge and then become one? I think the issue is we're having a problem becoming one and nobody wants to step down.
Okay, so I think, Lady E, if I can answer your question, I think it's just recognize the strengths and weaknesses, right? So,
Correct.
okay, so Lady
And
E,
I
you in
think
the
some
medical.
people feel like taking that step down is like taking an L, but sometimes I feel like it's a sacrifice that you have to take for the people.
Exactly. So, Lady E, right? You in the medical field, right? So,
Correct.
if you're in the medical field, there's things you can tell me about health that I have no idea about because I'm not in that field, right? So when it comes to having expertise on that, or if we do a show on that, salute to M3 for the donation. Thank you for supporting, man, the Labudo Network and supporting the family. Appreciate you, man. Know what I mean? Appreciate everybody donating for real, for real. So when it comes to that, right, the thing is this, if it comes to a point where we are doing anything within the medical field, whether we're doing a show about, health or anything like that, we should be listening to you because you're actually in that field. We got to know when to fall back. I said that earlier. Our problem as a people, we just don't know how to fall back. You know what I mean? So if you lead in that and you like, yo, hey, you don't want to take that medication. You want to take this one because it's better for our people. Oh, what you talking about, Lady E? You know what you're talking about. I'm doing this for years. It's like, no, I'm the expert. Some people are just an expert at doing things. You know what I mean? If Michael Jordan talking about he want to come and teach you how to play basketball, you going to tell him to get out your face? You want to play basketball? Come on, man. This is the thing that we got to do. We got to learn how to fall back. But that's to answer your question. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I guess I'll throw my head in this one. Pretty much what you said, Mr. Best. Just knowing when to switch hands. I think in most cases, depending on the leadership and where that is going, and depending on where that framework is being placed, yeah, I think that's where you have to switch the hats. Switch the hands of order and the hands of power over to the next person.
But Lady E, you said a good thing where I picked up on it. And I guess people feel like they're taking an L when they have to, concede leadership, and they got to stop viewing it like that. It's just like, hey, if this is in best interest of everybody else, and this person has more expertise, or they're just a better leader, I just need to go into a support role for that person, and I can help out in other areas and stuff like that. So I like when you mentioned that because, yeah, that was a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, the Black community can have an issue with authority. If like I come across somebody that has an injury, I'm not a doctor. I can't heal you. So my default is go see a doctor. Why do we have hospitals? Why do we have personnel? Why do we have people in the army? Like, I ain't going to another country with a gun in my hand if I don't understand how to operate that piece of machinery. I'm not gonna do it. So for me, it's very easy to fall in line. Very easy. I'm like, no, because I know my space. I know my lane. I'm comfortable and I'm good at it. And that's what makes people work cooperatively. Just say, look, I'm comfortable. Like, I know what I'm doing. I have no problem with where I am at because I've done very well for myself. There's a lot of people in the world that are struggling. And I see them every day. I research that stuff. I look it up. I go to other countries. I talk to people. People come to these countries. They talk to me about their struggles and what's going on. There's no way I'm messing with that. So when I realize where my place is, that's where my place is. I have no problem with it.
So I would
Word up.
assume even as a community, oh, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I would suppose as a community, as we try to come together and when we're trying to merge, that we have to, not just support the person that is taking the lead, but still support the person that is stepping down, but still recognize that individual for the work that they put in and pay homage to that person, just so that they know that they're not forgotten. Because part of that person's legacy helped us get to where we're at now. And it's part of the reason why we're able to excel forward. And I think sometimes we forget that. That's all I needed to say.
Word up. Yo, I kind of want to speak on what sophisticated jerk was talking about on how people are more gravitated towards like drama and beef, and I kind of want to ask the whole panel like, yo, where do you think that stems from? Why is it that people are more drawn to, the drama and the toxic attributes and behaviors that's dispersed online? Talk to me. Let's expound on this.
I could go if you want. I don't know if anyone else wants to go before me.
Yo, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think it's natural. I think things happen. And innately, what happens in my
Yo,
experience
let me
is
interject real quick. Now, when you say things happen, are you saying that it's a form of social engineering? Is that what you insinuating?
no, I don't think people purposefully go out to seek beef. I don't think that for a second. I don't think it's in anyone's best interest to do that. Me personally, I really try to stay the hell away from it. It's just sometimes, people will say one thing and then do another, and then carry on doing the other based on whatever agenda they may have. So it becomes a problem. Me personally, I don't step up unless I have to, like, or I need to, or my family are turning around to me and going, look, like, you need to address this. Like, to me, I'm not interested personally. I have no interest in it. My life's cool. I have no problem with nobody. Do you know what I mean? So, but I do find that some people can trigger you into stuff over and over again, like repeatedly for no apparent reason. Like, I've never ever gone at somebody, but I don't know if you know my name, but I've been involved in shit because, there comes a point where it's like people try to get into your other stuff where it's not about you. It's about your family, it's about your friends, it's about your sisters, it's about your children. I'm gonna bleep this out, but I had a guy turn around and call my daughter a B for no apparent reason. So, what is that? I put it down to mental health issue personally, but I'm just saying I've never witnessed that in my life, like my real life. There's no way in hell I'm gonna have like walk into an office and someone tell me, oh, you brought your daughter in. Oh, she looks like a bee. Like, no, what is that? Like, and for real, that don't go down in my part of, in my part of the area. No, not at all. But people feel like they can flex online like that, and it's like that's okay. I don't even want to respond sometimes. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But they carry on because you don't respond, and they make a big deal out of it. It's like likes and follows and X, Y, Z. And I'm not really on here for that. Do you get what I mean? Like, I've got my own life. I'm a law student. I don't care. When YouTube ain't everything to me. I come on here to build communities, bro. At the end of the day, like, I like the people that I network with. They give me intellect. They give me knowledge. They make me understand certain things. I went through a certain process where I was going through certain things, and if it weren't for certain brothers online, listen, I don't know where I'd be. Do you get what I mean? So I respect certain people in a certain type of way, but god damn, there's some people that come up here and they do some crazy stuff and I don't even understand why. But as I said, I think people just generally respond because they have to or need to, or it's affecting their personal life. I think that's when people start to interject.
Well, I think in the YouTube space, I think a lot of people look at it as like drama brings views. So, they're always kind of chasing the drama to bring in the views instead of like just putting out good content. I think putting out good content is probably like a slower path. So that's why people are looking for that shortcut. And then also, man, I just think a lot of people are sometimes bitter because when you hear a lot of these like circular arguments and stuff like that, it's coming from a place of like bitterness and unhappiness in that individual. So it's just like sometimes those people will gravitate to each other and, they just kind of click up. So I think those are the two factors I would say.
I'll also say this, though. People have a lack of disassociating reality versus entertainment television. And then also, beef is just like a visual pheromones. You know what I mean? That just attract people.
Damn, and three stole my answer. God damn it.
All right. We robbing tonight now. But no, if you think about it, okay. If I'm watching TV, okay, we're all guilty of this. When we're watching like so-called reality TV, and we're seeing like these celebrities getting clowned, people are talking trash, trash and hip hop or whatever, that show, but we get glued into it. We're like, oh man, Mama D like did what to Scrappy? Oh shoot, man, like these girls are like played this other dude or this dude cheated on such and such, and you just can't wait to see the next episode of how this drama like still continues. So and I feel like when people they're watching us, behind like a computer screen or TV screen, however, I think a lot of people they get golfed into what's going to happen next, and the content creators they know that. So you gotta kind of be careful like when getting into someone else's beef because you never know when it's staged. I know a lot of content creators, that beef like in the early parts of me joining like YouTube. And now they're cool for the moment. Or you'll probably think, oh damn, the way how this dude is acting is as if he's his best friend or whatever. But it's all part of entertainment. And unfortunately, if you're a lot of times people don't want to be educated. If you're watching TV and you're watching a documentary versus an entertaining Marvel movie, most likely you're going to tune into the Marvel movie because you don't have to think. See, it takes a lot of work to activate the brain that we have and to listen versus watching something that doesn't make entire no sense, but because we're getting entertained, those are pheromones. Those pheromones is being released to us, you know, and we're enjoying it. So whether it's consciously or subconsciously, most people will tune into it because all they have to do is just type and comment a bunch of mindless things. But when you're having conversations like this, where it's thought provoking, now you gotta kind of like call in like the dead brain cells and try to bring them back to life. You know what I mean? They gotta come back, and it really irritates the brain. So that's why you may have people that will tune in, but if you're not doing nothing that is goofy, if you're not in dancing monkey mode, they're gonna monkey those same people in the chat's gonna monkey branch to somewhere else where pheromones is being released all around. So yeah, mic drop.
I will say this too. Right? I'll say this, man. Niggas just too fascinating on being entertained, man. We're too fascinated on being entertained and seeing the shit show. But it's not just that. We also want to follow what's the trend, right? Because I remember not too long ago where the social conscious movement was completely, dominating Black YouTube, right? Dr. Umar Johnson, Saneda, you know what I mean? Saneda, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Brother Prolight, man, Tariq Nasheed, these brothers was dominating YouTube about 5, 6 years ago, right? And they was giving you a lot of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? A lot of gems and people's watching them all across the world, giving these brothers donations, supporting them because it was popular at that moment. Salute the King's Table. Marcus, I see you too. Salute to you as well. You know
Salute,
what I'm
salute.
saying? You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this, man. Like at the end of the day, people are gonna go where it's popular, right? And then after that, Derek Jackson came through. He had his little moment. Then Kevin Samuels came through. But some of these people that was content creators, they were a while for a minute before they got things popping. Kevin Samuels just didn't show up and got things popping. It took him some time, right? And he was very intellectual. You know what I mean? And so was the other brothers I mentioned. Very well spoken, can make their points even if they're wrong, right? Very well spoken, very intellectual. You know what I mean? But the thing that happened with them is that they got popular, right? And once you get popular, that's when everybody want to show up and watch. You know what I mean? No matter what you're talking about. You can be talking about some intellectual or you can be talking about some monkey shit. People just want to be around what's popular. You know what I mean? And that's what it really is. This it's popular right now to beef or to call somebody out or to dox somebody, any of that dumb shit. But it's slowly coming to an end. You know what I'm saying? It's slowly coming to an end. And when the end comes, you know what I mean? Me and my team will be standing right there, baby.
Come on home to daddy.
Come on, my daddy, baby. Come on home. Bring your ass here.
But you're gonna have to work for it, bitch, you know? And I'm not saying bitch as a derogatory word towards women. I'm just saying towards anyone.
Oh man, why he had to say that?
Word up, word up. Yo, Lady E, what's good, man? You got a perspective on the last question I asked, or you good?
I'm good.
Word up. Well, yo, we've been up here for about 3 hours. Yo, I think I'm gonna cut it short. Yo, I want to get everybody's last thoughts, final thoughts before we shut this thing down.
Great show, Rush, man. Thank you for inviting me to come up. It was definitely a good conversation, from the DC to the Marvel to here.
Word out. Appreciate it, King.
Yeah, definitely great conversation, man. Just even when I was listening, when y'all was breaking down the comments, man, I was taking some notes, so I got to do some catching up and stuff. But great conversation all around and stuff. Appreciate for you letting me come up here and talk with everybody, and everybody has some great perspectives. So, great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I wrote with my brothers, and I'm thankful. Thank you for letting me up. I appreciate it. It's been good, and just take into perspective that, you know, there are male leaders out there. I think women acknowledge just as well, Ross. They won't be chasing and seeking. But it is what it is. Your platform's dope. Keep it rocking. And salute.
Yeah, man. Russ, thanks for inviting me to the show. Salute to the Little Buddha Network. Great perspectives all across the board. I can't wait for next time. I can't wait to come through. Salute to the channel.
Word out, word out.
All right,
Mr.
lady.
Best.
Oh, Lady E is last. Go ahead, Lady E. Then I go.
Thank you, Mr. Rush, for having me on your show. This is the first time. I enjoyed the conversation. Salute to everyone out on the panel. I enjoyed listening to everyone's comments and questions, and this was very much an interesting topic and definitely perked up my day for the past few days since I've been stuck inside my room with COVID.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry
hopefully
to
you
hear that.
get well soon, and I'm glad I was able to give you some uplifting feelings today. You know what I mean? Get well, Lady E, and I appreciate you coming through.
Thank you.
Mr. Bass, talk to me, man. What's your
Yo.
final thought?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know how we do, baby. Yo,
Yeah.
number one, man, thank you everybody for supporting. You know what I mean? The Labuto Network, okay? Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Please leave a comment at the end of the program, okay? You know what I mean? That builds up the algorithm that helps my brother to get support, okay? And please watch all the dope content that he's dropped. He got some dope interviews, man, if y'all ain't check it out. The Jesse Lee Peterson interview. You know what I mean? He got so much stuff, man, that he got on here. Y'all got to check out, man, what my brother Rush is doing here with the Labuto Network, man. It's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Definitely, you know what I mean? Make sure y'all like and subscribe to all the content creators. Wolf Talk Productions, Simon with the Food Channel, Knowledge and Relationships with me and them three. Also, Intellectual Soapbox with Lady E and all of us, here. I'm Sophisticated Jerk, and I didn't forget about my man Manic, you know what I mean? Salute to Manic as well. You know what I mean? Manic Genius. You know what I mean? I know him and Sophisticated Jerk, they work together, so salute to y'all. Salute to everybody, man. You know what I mean? So, Miss Nebraska, I see you in the comments, you know what I mean? Salute to her. Please support her on Twitch. You know what I mean? Marcus, everybody that's with the team and with the family. Salute to the whole family, man. Those who know. You know what I mean? Those who are part of the family group, y'all know who y'all are. Much love to y'all. Thank y'all. Thank for y'all for pulling up. I seen the family in the building strong and heavy for real. You know what I mean? But definitely, y'all. Thank you, Rush, man, for letting me rock out with you today, man. I appreciate you, bro. Much love, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know I love you, brother. You know what I mean? Keep doing your thing. Like I said, y'all, make sure y'all like and subscribe and share. You know what I mean? What's going here on the Labuto Network, all right? That's it, y'all. Peace.
Make sure y'all stay sucker free, y'all.
Facts.
Yeah, to drop that in there.
Yeah, man. Yo, seek wisdom, practice humility, and remain sucker free. You heard?
Gangster.